Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Try turning my mic up. Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and thank you so much for tuning us in as we got a great show for you tonight. Geraldine Orozco is here with another edition of The Spiritual You, and Dirty Philth brings in another great cartoon for your pleasure indeed. Let us say hello to everyone in our chat rooms tonight, as the mental positions are as follows. We have SJ with the gold medal, Race Fan taking home a silver, W. Decker with a nice bronze medal tonight. Man, that's a good lineup. Good lineup right there. Okay, let us continue on here as we continue on with our roll call. We have the gorgeous and talented Kira right there in fourth spot. Deidre, Andrew the trucking gnome, how you doing, buddy? And Lisa Davey, how's it going? Akryong has returned. Akryong will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. All right, let us move on here as we have up next Intergalactic Angler. Welcome to SOR Chat. Tib in the Backwoods, good to see you. Brown Dwarf, Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, Tib Mothman and his goatee. Thank you for coming on in. Philip Backanuts, good to see you. Hi, Cosmic Joe, Kitty Caddywhack. Good to have you here. T-Bone, my man, thank you for coming on in. Love you, buddy. And who is next on our list? Well, we have Corey. Yeah, just Corey. He's like Madonna, Cher, Beyonce. Only needs one name, Corey. Mr. Cowley, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Number 26 in your program, starting at left wing tonight from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson. Aaron Bacca, how you doing? Richard Steele, what's happening, my man? Kurt M., purple-haired Pixie Lara, nice to see you both. Hi, Richard Elmore, good to have you here. As we continue on with our roll call, there's Thomas Rock. Necessary Dialogue has returned. Flat 6, good to see you. Hi, Christine Lynn and Destiny Rocks. Millennium, my man, thank you for coming on in. Always appreciate you. Let's continue on with our roll call. Nina Williams has returned. Nina Williams will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Continuing on here on the Mighty SOR. Roll call happening. Algaray over on Twitch. Yep. Did 75 push-ups in 12 seconds. Hard to believe. 75 push-ups, 12 seconds. Enrique, how you doing, my friend? Night Watch, good to see you. W. Decker, thank you for kicking off the super chats tonight. We really appreciate it. Let's send some love to W. Decker's dog. Needs some healing. We can all do that. Yeah, let's do that. Operation Shutdown, Skip to Malou. Ayumi Doll, how are you? Good to see you again. As we scroll on down, there's Sweet Robbie G hanging on out with us. Good to have you here, buddy. Laura Lobbs, Asimov, nice to see you both. And who's next on our list? We have Paul Nicholas. Thank you for coming on in. Damian Wyatt, how you doing? Sierra, nice to see you again. Continuing with our roll call, Laura Lee Schneider. I know I forgot the hat upstairs. I promise you I will get it at the break. I will get it at the break. Laura Lee helps me out. Or Lorelei, sorry. Lorelei helps me out on the ghost tour that I do. Her and her husband, Tim. Good people. Good people. I'll give them a few claps. All right. Let's go here. Tim, I know you're laughing by that. All right. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Geraldine Orozco will be with us momentarily to take on the spiritual you. We are in roll call right now. And there's Bill WD-40 lubing us up for tonight's show, because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. You don't want any rigidness, nothing too rough. And that's what Bill provides by lubing us up just so right. Hi, beautiful Bill WD-40. All right, continuing on here as we say hello to Gory Tiger. Nice to have you here. Babylon Rose, thanks for coming on in. And who else is back? Ane. Hi, Ane. Hi, Ane. Hi, Ane. Dutch Hank, good to see you. And who else is here? Shiny Ray, thanks for coming on in. Do me a favor, everybody. Throw those horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, KTNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out, Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a fantastic show coming at you tonight. We are just awaiting the arrival of Geraldine Orozco for the Spiritual You for her monthly show with us. She's just having some computer troubles logging in right now. Then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton from Tales Untold. He changed the name of his channel to Tales Untold. He'll bring us another creepy story. Jackie Harmon is here with the Crypted Report. You know what? I'm going to put somebody on the spot here, and they know who it is. They're drawing away. Hey, Philth, turn your microphone on for a sec. Here's Dirty Philth. See, our radio audience really doesn't know who the Dirty one is. We have, if you watch our YouTube channel, we have a wonderful artist from Edmonton, Alberta, named Dirty Philth. You can get his books on Amazon. He is one of the most talented people. He's been with the show secretly on the YouTube side and the Twitch side for, 3 years now, Dirty Philth? 3 years?
Yeah, I think about 3 years.
Yeah.
It was before that I sent you a cartoon.
I know that. You sent me a couple of devious cartoons, a couple of devious ones.
I'm pretty good at that.
You know, for our radio audience who doesn't know about you or your art, you know, there's a couple 100,000 people listening to us right now. What inspires you to draw about UFOs, Bigfoot, Dogman, and all the weird stuff?
Well, I've always been interested in ghosts and Bigfoot and aliens. And in elementary school, when kids were reading about big red dogs, I was reading about ghosts and Sasquatch and aliens, and it just kind of caught my attention. It was always something interesting that I was enjoyed, and I've always drawn cartoons, and it just kind of translated to that after listening to Coast, and then I randomly stumbled upon. I was on I'm going to go off on a rant here, Dave.
Yeah,
I was on a big super soldier kick, and I was trying to find as much as I could about super soldiers and the 20 and back. And then I seen this thing come up on YouTube, Spaced Out Radio, Dave Scott. And I go, oh, okay, I haven't heard this one yet. And I listen to it, and this guy comes on there, and he's got 2 first names, and I go, holy crap, this guy's from BC, and that's pretty neato. And then I started listening to him more and more, and then I found out he was doing a show every day, and I just started tuning in at 10 o'clock Alberta time, drawing cartoons. And then the next thing I know, I decided I was going to send Dave a drawing, and I messaged him. I drew the sports model, the Bob Lazar sports model, and I messaged Dave. I said, hey, Dave, would you like this drawing? And he goes, oh, seriously, you'll send that to me? And I go, Bob Bigelow and Skinwalker Ranch. And then we kind of had a chuckle. And next thing you know, now I'm drawing cartoons for him just about every day. And that's it's been a lot of fun. But yes, I've been interested in, sorry.
You know what, Filthy? I got to tell you this. Speaking of the sports model, did you know, I guess you wouldn't because you've never been to my house, but in my kitchen where I keep, because everybody has that glass cabinet where they keep the fancy glasses that no one ever drinks out of. You know that one?
Yes.
That every house has?
Of course.
The sports model sits right in there for everyone to see.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I do have a lot of your drawings in here. In the studio here. I do. They're all around. Unfortunately, you can't see my shelving on this side, but I also
had the most important one right behind you, though.
This was one of the first ones you sent me. It is a Mothman and a bird.
The old Thunderbird.
It says, I dropped a bucket worth of proof on Dave's car. Yeah, that was a Thunderbird and the Mothman right there.
And the reason I drew that is because out of all the shows where he talked about dinosaurs or Thunderbirds or anything like that, I remember you always said, well, there'd be some evidence somewhere. There's got to be some heavy duty evidence. And I'm like, oh, geez. But maybe I'll have to draw a cartoon of that. And I had to throw Mothman in there because he's one of my favorites, and he's got a nice bottom, according to the statue.
Very true. Very true. But the most important one you drew, I'm not going to get it because it's on my shelf way behind me, and I hate dead air on the radio. But it was when we found out that legendary guest of ours, Butch Witkowski, passed away on January 13th, 2021. Hard to believe it's been 3 years already. And you drew me the most emotional cartoon ever. And literally, it made me cry. And it was Butch being taken up by a UFO. And oh man, I play it right at the end. So if you're watching on our YouTube channel, or you ever watch on our YouTube channel and see when I actually log off the air. So even though the radio show is done, I continue on for about 15 minutes, a half an hour with the audience on our YouTube side. And at the end of it, I end up playing this video. And right at the end, it's the last words. I edited into the music, the last words that Butch Witkowski ever said to me. And I got that audio. And I put that to the painting that you did for me on that. And that is today still the best. I look at that and I still get emotional, Filth. You captured that moment perfectly.
You're welcome, Dave. I love you anyways, man.
I know. And I appreciate that. And
yeah, I've done a couple drawings like that for people. Most of the time I never share them or anything with anyone because it's kind of a personal thing, but I anytime I can make someone chuckle or happy or anything with my cartoons, that's kind of what I like to do.
Your cartoons, though, have been really, really amazing that other people, pretty big names in our community, have absolutely ate up your artwork. I mean, Alex Dietrich, the former fighter pilot who was part of the Nimitz incident back in 2004 when she was flying her FA-18, she absolutely adores your art. Brandon Fugel, the owner of Skinwalker Ranch, he went and bought 10 of your books so he could hand them out to his people because your art is so amazing.
I sent that guy a couple cartoons every year at Christmas. He's probably got he's probably got a special room just for the stuff. And every year he's probably thinking, oh God, I'm gonna have to expand this thing.
But he loves it. You know what I'm saying? He loves it. And what you provide and your art provides is something that nobody really is doing. It provides a comedic look at the topics that we talk about, because there's a lot of artists out there, Filth, who are literally, doing art on UFOs or Dogman or Sasquatch or ghosts, but nobody's really throwing in a comedic flair with it that you do. And I think that's what makes yours so amazing, is that the storylines are on there. Who are some of your characters that we love?
We've got a couple of them. Mostly Mothman, the gray aliens. I have 3 gray aliens that I enjoy drawing. Carl, Stanton, and excuse me, Carl, Stanton, and Alan. And I'm pretty sure Alan and Stanton are pretty obvious of the references. And their whole thing is they're always trying to get some sort of get-rich scheme of some sort. And my Mothman character, he's absolutely terrified of crossing bridges, and he just enjoys watching sports and eating deep dish pizza. And then you get Sasquatch, who's curious enough and a nice enough guy. His only problem is that he steals pies off grandma's windowsills. So the Man in Black doesn't really like that too much. He's been reprimanded a few times.
What about the night crawlers?
The night crawlers are always some of my favorite. They're super easy to draw, and they're just, the way that I make them is the night crawler himself originally started out as just kind of a guy that would wander around. And then I decided he was going to steal a pair of pants one time, and a Man in Black scolded him, because my Man in Black is sort of like the military police of the cryptid world and whatnot. So he gave him a good scolding, brought him to a place where the cryptids get dressed up nicely, and the Nightcrawler ended up cleaning up pretty good, and he ended up finding himself a Mrs. Nightcrawler. So there's kind of a little storyline there. There's so many storylines that I've slowly been interweaving them. So my second book that's almost done, it's going to be alluding to more of that, and then the third book is going to be not compounding on it, expanding on their lives. Yes, all in one breath there, Dave.
How do you make the characters?
A lot of sketching, and when I look at something, I try to give it an old Nickelodeon Ren and Stimpy feel to it. Just big exaggerations and lanky arms, spindly legs, goofy as possible. And one of the things I also do is I make sure that each of them have their own speech balloon. The color of their speech balloon lets you know who's actually talking, which comes into play when I have characters in disguises. Usually the gray aliens wear the Groucho Marx nose and glasses. Oh, sorry if I'm not allowed to say that, Dave. That may be copyrighted. I'm sorry. But they'll wear those, and you can tell who's talking by the speech balloons. Nobody can really see it unless you're watching, but I have a page full of different color speech balloons and everything. So I've kind of made that into a thing as well. So it has uniform. It has uniformity. I don't even think that's a word. It is now.
I love it. I love it. Your book is titled Crypted Cartoons. Where can people find?
You can find Crypted Cartoons. It's by Klaus Meidner. If you just type in Crypted Cartoons in Amazon, it's a gray cover or a green color with a gray alien on the front. You can't miss it.
And your website?
It's filthy.com, FYLTHY.com. It's all my links to all my social media and junk are on there too.
We appreciate you, buddy. We're going to let you go back to drawing a cartoon of the night. Filthy usually draws a cartoon each and every night for our audience. He never draws me anymore. I'm boring. So he doesn't draw me anymore. But, we love him around here nonetheless. And
thanks,
we appreciate you, buddy. Filthy.com. Go check it on out. All right. From Filthy to somebody who's not so filthy, but she always has gorgeous hair and a great shoe collection. Geraldine Orozco is here with another edition of The Spiritual You. She is the owner of Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California. And she joins us monthly to get into our Zen, our Chi, and our aliens, because she is good at all three. Geraldine, how are you tonight? Oh, we can't hear your microphone, my friend. We cannot hear your microphone. The tech issues continue. Now, if you could actually see Geraldine doing this on screen, her hair is looking incredible, absolutely incredible. You know, she's definitely using more than just herbal essence, shampoo, and conditioner. See, that's the beauty of being on this side of the radio studio is I get to see what our guests look like. You know, but she is fighting with her microphone right now. I don't know if you want to try headphones, Geraldine, and see if that will do a difference with a microphone on it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But Geraldine comes in here, and I'll tell you, she does these regression therapies, and she gets to the heart of the matter when you got aliens like I do. Oh, yes. If you heard a couple of months ago, I actually played my regression on the air with Geraldine. It was kind of weird because I have no recollection of it whatsoever. Yet there I was speaking on tape with Geraldine, hanging on out and doing our thing. Yeah, asking me everything. Can you hear me, Geraldine?
How about now? Can you hear me now?
I got you now. It's good to have you.
Great. Okay, my gosh, very stressing. Sorry, guys. I'm traveling and a little bit low on the tech here, unfortunately, where I am. So I apologize for the delay. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Are we allowed to know where on this big blue-ish green orb where you are?
Well, today I'm in Los Angeles. Yeah, and my flight literally just got in, and so I'm just rushing in here. So thank you. Yes.
So what conference are you speaking at now that takes you to LA?
No, I'm not speaking at a conference, but I am really excited to be on a podcast interview tomorrow, which is really exciting with a gentleman named, let me tell you, Harris. Oh, no, that's not it. Bill Maher has a studio where they do some really amazing interviews called The Random Room. And
Nice.
yeah, it's a really fun interview. So yeah, I'll share with you the post afterwards for sure.
That's wonderful. Well, it's always good to have you here because you unfortunately, due to your schedule, cannot make it to Reno for our fan party. I know that really bugged you because the one thing you love in life outside of your shoe collection is your Dave Scott.
That is true.
Yes, that is very true. And I know it really bothered you that you couldn't be there with our guests and our fans and everything like that. You missed a good time and a great ghost tour of Virginia City, that's for sure.
Oh,
but
wow.
next year you'll be able to come. Hopefully, we'll give you lots more.
So yes, definitely. Thank you. I'm so glad it was a success.
Oh yes, yeah. Met a lot of good people. A lot of good people there, and you know how it is when you go. I mean, you could do about at least 15 to 20 conferences a year. I mean, you are someone who you get people hopping into and becoming regulars into your YouTube channel. And you're like, hey, I want to meet this person, see what they're like. They seem really cool.
Right.
And, 9.8 times out of 10, they are amazing people, and you go out through that and you meet these people and you have a great time. And that's what it's all about, is the connection with humans and humanity.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I know. What an awesome. I hope you guys recorded stuff. Maybe I'll check it out if you guys post some of the recordings of the event.
Oh, I record nothing. Nothing. Well, there is the live show that we did on YouTube from the hotel. So you can catch that on our YouTube channel, and any of our radio audience can as well. Geraldine, we got about 5 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. And, tonight we're going to get into all sorts of topics wherever you want to go. If something interesting, because normally I'm bringing up the topics with you, and I'm going to reverse it tonight. I'm playing my Uno reverse card here. What's on your mind recently? What are you working on?
Oh, a lot of really exciting things. Right now I'm focusing on my book. So that's taking me down some pathways of research that are very exciting, including consciousness and going back into our history of the origin of man. taking a look at how our evolution plays a role, and also looking at the construct of the holographic system, this holographic construct that we live in. So really exciting to get into that research for the book, and also supported by a lot of amazing sessions that I'm doing with clients recently, where cycles are emerging, and I'm going to be talking about those cycles in the book, how these cyclical patterns of collective subconscious belief systems are kind of emerging. So that's something that I'm noticing. So yeah, it's really exciting. And it's also an exciting time for ufology, I have to say, because we're really getting into a lot of intricate conversations about contact. And it's exciting to be a part of that right now. So yeah, that's exciting.
I had a buddy approach me today, stopped in my daytime office, and he was very much like, one of the first questions he asked me is like, have you been looking up at the stars lately in our area? And I'm like, no, I really haven't had time. And plus it's been raining a lot, so we've had a lot of clouds. But in his area, like, it's really weird because the way our land is around here, one area can have clouds and rain, and the other area, like 15, 20 miles away, is like clear sky, sunshine, or the stars above, depending on the time of day. And he was saying that all over the place, he's having nightly counting multiple UFOs flying over our area.
Wow.
Are you noticing a lot more people having contact these days?
Honestly, I'll tell you this. I notice a lot more people talking about the contact that they're experiencing. And I mean, I've kind of been saying this for quite a few years now, but I think that we're getting to a point where a lot of people are open to the conversation based on what has been disclosed up until this point. And a lot of people are not afraid to sound ridiculous when they share these stories, which is extremely important, and it's a huge change for humanity. We are kind of waking and removing ourselves from that yucky feeling that ET contact is a fantasy, or it's something that is completely not relevant to our reality. And that's important because we're changing the way we see the world, and also we're questioning our physics, and our physics is also beginning to move in the direction of coming into more expanded states of understanding quantum physics, understanding frequency, understanding how humans project frequencies, how we project our experiences. So I think it's an exciting year, and it's an exciting era for the beginning of this new way of looking at reality.
With that new way of looking at reality, there does come some fear about what is going to happen with our, the way we live, how is life going to change? What are they doing, whoever they are, who are calling the shots? Are we actually going to know anything? And I'm curious how you feel about that. We got about 1 minute here.
Um, you mean the disclosure movement?
The disclosure movement, the potential of more ET contact coming down the road, becoming more public with it.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's about consciousness, and we can go really deep into that in the next hour. But, I think interdimensional contact, which is what we're really talking about here, it's not that we're talking about something that is in this dimension. These are interdimensional interactions, and it is user interface matters when we're talking about that, because the input of the human and their vibrational frequency plays a role in what they are interacting with. So this is something that is from the inside out, that is happening collectively to the human race as we mature as a human race that is becoming aware of the cultivation of our multidimensionality. So I think that, the government and our sciences and all of these background processes that are kind of backing up these sciences of interdimensional contact, they are understanding and realizing and becoming aware, acknowledging this transformation that we're going through as a human race, and putting out what they are finding. And now it's our turn as the humans to also disclose our own personal experiences, to share them, to talk about them. We'll talk more about that in a minute.
All right. Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continues on the big show tonight. GeraldineOrozco.com is her website, her YouTube channel, and the name on her lapel. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. I don't know where that came from,
The
but it
name
was
on
awesome.
the lapel. Sure. Oh, Dave, you look great.
Thank
What
you.
did you do? Did you get a tan? What did you do over there?
Let's see here. I don't know. Hey, hold on 2 seconds. I gotta go grab a baseball cap. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Go.
Hi, Geraldine. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you? It's so nice to see you.
At least my hands.
Yeah, and your beautiful work. What are you working on today? This is so exciting.
I actually decided I was going to draw. Dave's got me all rambling away, so I've been kind of talking to myself. And anyways, I decided I'm going to draw the shadow creature that was at the Bayside Marketplace in Miami just last year or something.
Oh, that's an
And
important.
nobody could ever get a clear picture of it. So I basically he was at this mall to get some flip flops for the beach.
There you go.
So
That
that's what
must
I'm
be
going
it.
with.
Agreed. I love it. Thank you.
Hey, Philth, I think we need to do a Geraldine Orozco cartoon one time.
I think I can manage that.
Yeah, with like 12-inch stilettos. You know how it goes.
Oh my God, no, Phil, you're not going to do. But I would love
Like-
to see what you come up with. That would be so fun.
Do one in
Stilettos,
front of
like
her.
the knife or the shoes.
Oh no,
You got to do her closet, her shoe room.
that doesn't exist, by the way.
It's not
You
a
know-
shoe room, Dave. It's an extra dimensional pocket. Like, you know
There
how
you
Bugs Bunny would take the portal and
Yep, that's exactly what happened. She takes a portal into the shoe land and says, "I'm going to be wearing these pumps today."
I
I'm
love it.
feeling. It's such a nice sunny day. I'm feeling open-toed. I better go into the portal and grab a pair.
Oh my,
Maybe the red ones today. I don't know.
that's funny.
Anyways, I got this new hat. I'm just going to zoom in here for a second. This brand new hat here.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that.
Yes. My new friends, Tim and Lorelei, don't call her Laura Lee, it's Lorelei. They showed up at my office yesterday, at my daytime office, and gave me a late birthday present.
Oh,
Yes. So it was Lorelei's birthday yesterday. And so happy belated, Lorelei. And I can tell you this, I love this hat. So they said, will you wear it on the show? And I said, of course. See, there's Lorelei right there. Nice hat. And I got her name right.
that
What
is-
really stirs me up is at our museum, Geraldine, we have a ghost that is named Laura Lee.
Oh,
Laura Lee and Lorelei
mhm.
messed up on who's who.
Right.
Yeah.
That can happen for sure.
So I said I would wear the hat today, and I forgot it in the first half hour. So now I'm wearing it.
That is such an awesome hat. It's perfect.
It is. It is. And I got a big melon, too. You've seen the size of my head up close and personal. It's like 3 Geraldines all in, put together.
No,
You
it's not.
Pretty close. Pretty close. All right. We let's see here. Yeah, but Tim and Lorelei, they're becoming quickly extremely good friends. And they help out with my ghost tour. And Lorelei has a great little tea shop in town where she makes all that hippie tea, from dandelions to, mushroom, not the magic ones. No, I'm teasing. I don't know. But apparently she has one hell of a luncheon that I'm going to go eat out one day.
Wow. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, if you had the selection that we do in the town, anything new is exciting. Exciting.
Well, you guys have nature out there. What more excitement do you need? You go out and see all the excitement out there.
You don't even like nature.
Oh, I love nature. I cannot live without nature. Are you kidding?
Yeah, if it's an ocean with
No.
big sharks in it,
No, I love trees. I can't live without trees. That's a fact.
that's
Mountains.
true.
Mountains too, and lakes.
You know what's really cool is when you're in the trees up here, Geraldine,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden you see something move. and your eyes focus in on what's moving, and way in the background behind the tree, you see the wild horses walking by.
That
Oh,
is so beautiful. Wow.
oh yeah, that's very cool.
You
Now, if
see?
it's a mountain lion, it's going to scare the hell out of you. But, wild horses are cool. Hold on right there. We're coming back in 10 seconds. Thank you, T-Bone, Lorelei, and W. Decker for the super chats tonight. And here we go, everybody. Here we go with the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. I almost forgot my name there. Holy cow. What kind of a night is this when I forget my own name? Hey, a reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We continue on with Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You, coming to us from Los Angeles, California, where she is going to be podcast extraordinaire in the morning. Yeah. You're a world traveler. World traveler. You really are. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm fantastic. It's always so lovely to be here. Missed you guys.
I love it when you're on. I love it when you're on. That's why I bring you on every month, because you're one of my favorite people in the world. You really are.
Likewise.
Want to ask you in regard, and I was reading this on X earlier today, where all of a sudden this, how things just take off. This one person tweeted out, and I'm paraphrasing here, that they're done with the disclosure movement. They're done with the big names. They're done with everything. And it's not because they're mad or there's no proof, because we always hear that argument. They're just mad at the fact that disclosure is not going to come from the government. They basically said that in order to get true disclosure, it has to be personal. It has to be the people. The government isn't going to give us what we want. They're not going to give us the goods on Roswell. They're not going to give us the goods on all the incidents that have happened and the contact that's happened. Do you buy that disclosure is going to be more of a personal expectation than one that the government just hands down to you and chooses what you're going to know?
That's a really interesting question, but I think what comes to my mind first is really questioning, well, first of all, what are we doing in the first place of giving the government basically the power to dictate what we can and cannot interact with and experience and consider as a possibility? I think that's actually a bigger danger than anything else, is that we actually depend so much on the government to give us this kind of information. Permission perhaps to believe in something. That's a dangerous concept, I think, and it's one that we've been battling for a very long time in our human history, which is a mistake, and it's been proven to be a mistake. I think that sovereignty to human and humankind is very important for us to become our own thinkers and to be able to give ourselves our own permission for our belief systems, for the way that we experience reality, how we experience and interact with one another. Because ultimately, we are the ones that are having the sightings, the interactions, the dreams, the dream times and dream experiences with these interdimensional beings. And it's important for us to go back to, let's say, what the ancient cultures did, were to go back inside, to open up those channels of communication and interconnection with this natural world that it revolves around us. I think that will, the moment that humanity changes their direction from the attention of one centralized system of information and let's say, permission, this is where we're going to start coming into more creativity. And I think that's the rebirth of the divine feminine within our human race right now. It is the healing of the creative aspect of humanity, where we come into our own personal creation and give ourselves permission to create. Because fundamentally, the human is a holographic bioelectrical system that is inputting into this holographic construct their experiences. And it's amazing, but every human that has these kinds of experiences is directing them in some way. We are directing, we are opening them, or we can close them as well. So it's important for us to really question, do we need this disclosure? Why do we need that? Right now in the scientific community, there's a lot of battles internally about quantum physics, for example, and the quantum realm and the concept of multiverses. There are one side of science that is agreeing with that, and the other side of science that doesn't agree with it. But then in the middle, we have to consider philosophy, we have to consider psychology, we have to consider interpersonal experiences and these spiritual experiences that people are having, that are a lot of humanity is experiencing that. And the sciences are turning to consider these aspects in order to make their observations. And that's a huge change for us, for the human race, I think, right now.
See, I think that the way the phenomena is starting to be noticed by a number of people out there, I really do believe, Geraldine, that maybe disclosure is us individually.
Yeah, exactly.
And I believe that, the phenomena chooses how much we can handle, whether it's just a paranormal experience once, whether it's a UFO sighting once, or whether it's multiple contact with ETs or cryptids in the forest or whatever it may be. And I think that's how they're trying to open us up, rather than landing on the White House lawn and saying, "Here we are, Earthlings. Accept us. We're here for good. We've always been here. And now we're going to show ourselves from here on in," because that could cause a lot of trouble. And
Hmm.
I believe that's one of the issues that we are going to see.
Yeah, but I think if something like that comes out, probably going to be a little rooted in a bit of a manipulation also. We have to understand. I mean, there is a lot of reverse technology that the government has been hiding for a long time. And I think a lot of the sightings that the majority of humanity is experiencing is the government testing their own crap, their own UFOs that I think have existed for a very long time. So I think we need to be careful with that, because yes, that if those events might happen, but we need to use discernment to understand, what does it mean for something like that to happen. For these kinds of aircrafts that are interdimensional, we're talking about interdimensional species, as they called them in the congressional hearing. These biologics that are able to sustain themselves in these aircrafts that travel at incredible speeds, and movement, are completely different constructs of organisms other than humanity. So we have to slowly begin to understand and integrate, what does that mean. It means that our physics is going to fall apart. The way that we look at religion, the way that we see society, the way we see ourselves has to change. And so there's a major maturing point that we need to come into, I think, as we're integrating and accepting this as truth.
Well, that leads to another question that I actually saw on X today. Because, I didn't spend any time whatsoever during my daytime job, doing research for anything else but this show. And don't let my boss hear that and they say that. But the question came from Grant Levac, former guest on this show. Love the guy. And he says, "Does your faith influence your belief in the phenomena? Should it?"
Mm.
And I'm curious to get your point on this, because this is the spiritual you. You deal with the spiritual aspect of everything. You deal with the aspect of ET contact. Should our faith affect what we do?
Well, that's an interesting question. But in order to answer that, we do need to understand one fundamental truth about our psychology and even our genetics. Understanding, where do our core belief systems come from in the first place. I mean, we are a product of programming, very, very deep ingrained programming. And so if we really understand how most of our psychology works, even the personas that we create, our personalities that are constructed as a result of programming, all of that is something that is inherited genetically through generations. And where are those generations getting those programs? It's something as part of this construct that is designed. There is a lot of social engineering, which means that certain strong belief systems, ideas, and concepts are inserted into the mass society. And not always historically have those concepts been to the benefit of a sovereign thinker or a man that is independent from emotional manipulation, sexual, mental, physical manipulation, even psychological, of course, based on religions that have been manipulating, human belief systems for centuries. So, we have to consider that. So the answer is yes. We are deeply subconsciously influenced by our core belief systems. And until someone does a deep dive into those beliefs, you might not even realize how those belief systems are rooted in perhaps religious concepts, for example. You might not be religious now, but you might have had, let's say, Catholicism in your bloodline, for centuries. And those are very deep rooted belief systems that are ingrained in the way that we see and structure society around us, the way that we look at sex, the way that we see identity, the way that we see political views. So we're deeply embedded with these concepts. And it requires man to revisit our core belief systems and really understand where did we inherit them from in order to get to the true sovereign way of looking at things. So when it comes to ET contact, we know deeply that, even in the United States, especially, there has been a lot of psyops around ET contact, very specifically disinformation that was put out about ET contact for a very long time. And so, we've adopted those ideas to the point where we base our concepts of ET contact on Hollywood, which is a huge, double-sided sword, because there is some disclosure occurring, I believe, through Hollywood, but also there's disinformation and confusion occurring through that as well. So, how do we go back to the core, pure experience of the human, not tainted by those belief systems? It's very difficult. But what I've learned from my personal experience, and also many other of my contactees, that when we deprogram those core belief systems and you still end up having these interdimensional contact experiences, that's where you start to realize, there's another layer to this reality that cannot be touched by those programs, cannot be tainted by those programs. There exists in the architecture of our reality interdimensionality, and we are not the only intelligent life in this multiverse. So this is something that we gently mature into, and we are collectively designed to experience that collectively, I think, during this era, this time right now.
Does ancestral DNA play a part in this concept?
Absolutely. And this is part of what I am very passionate about is talking about how ET contact itself is kind of embedded in our DNA, and how families are experiencing connection with certain star groups, certain bloodlines and historical concepts of themselves in connection with interdimensional and spiritual experiences. Those are as the same way as trauma is passed down through generations, and we create personalities around that trauma. We are also passing down interdimensional vision, gifts, psychic abilities. This is something that is being passed down, and that is the doorway into the realization of interdimensional contact. We are star seeds. We have all these waves of children that are deeply remembering past lives, not only as humans, but they remember their past lives as ET beings or Greys or other beings as well. So I think that this is something that, through the research of the morphogenetic field and the proof of how deeply interconnected we are to one another as a human race, we're beginning to remember the memory, the collective Akashic memory, that we are these star beings Our Earth was seeded by these star beings, and we have those genetics in our DNA as well as in our biology. I mean, everything from the structure of our brain and the way that our body interacts and communicates with each other is a product of these of amalgamation of all of these interstellar consciousness or frequencies, ranges of frequencies. We're a product of that, and we actually embody a fractal of the universe in that sense.
Okay, so do you think though that and I know this is one of the concerns in regards to the pro-disclosure people at the Pentagon. They are worried about what will happen with Christians and Buddhists and Catholics and Muslims and every religion in between regarding ET contact. I'm curious what you think on that, and I'm not saying that to dissuade people with religion, because it could be a very beautiful thing for many people. What I'm saying, though, is a lot of religions look at anything that comes from the stars and look at it as demonic or evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, and I mean the thing is that we can go all the way back to the very origin of how even religions emerged, in their historic timeline. But I think a lot of the intention of religion, organized religion, was the purpose of control, with the inception of the concept of sin and the inception of the concept of shame and guilt. And those directly correlate to the manipulation of our lower bodies, which were, our sexual body, our primal body, how safe do we feel in our reality, and then our emotions. So if we can somehow manage and insert shame, guilt, fear, helplessness into society, it's very easy to control large masses of people. So we need to understand that, because it plays a role in the way that we see contact, the way that we are seeing, the information that we feel safe sharing with one another, and even acknowledging that we're experiencing within ourselves. The concepts of the demons and fallen angels and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of lore around that for many ancient cultures, but when we go back to the ancient scriptures, and here's the thing, if you go back to a lot of the ancient books that were actually suppressed or taken out of the Bible, for example, or ancient scriptures that were created by Taoist groups, ancient Sufis, they all do talk about the connection and the management of interdimensionality. All of that information was suppressed, hidden completely, blatantly. Books out of that Bible were completely removed. And it's those missing pieces of information that allow us to have a complete picture of what we are experiencing as a collective. So I think when it comes to looking at the way the filters that have been created in humanity to look at demons, for example, jinns, for example, the evil fallen angels, or Satan. We need to do research. It's all out in the open, but you need to research back to the origin of where those came into. And after doing a lot of this research, what I have come to a conclusion that, I mean, looking at the fundamental basic of this construct, we exist in a dualistic system. Okay, so there's always going to be duality, and that's something that we have to come to terms of as human experiencers. There's always going to be, in the nature of this reality, a low frequency and a high frequency, and the invitation for the human is to be able to learn how to discern and navigate between these two frequencies, between these two ranges of polarities, and to find themselves at the center of both these ways of seeing yourself. The concepts of the devil, the concepts of evil beings are nothing more than the subconscious shadow, the collective shadow of humanity. And this is something that researching contact proves to be true time and time again. If your vibrational frequency is really low, the kind of beings you're going to interact with are going to be parasitic. So, these can be named as demons and whatnot. They are parasitic beings that do take your life force, and you willingly give it without understanding your sovereignty. So we need to come back to the fundamental understanding of this system. How does it function? When you raise your vibrational frequency, you interact with high beings, high dimensional beings, and they are not as parasitic as these lower ones. And the human has to experience both of those constantly. It's part of the maturing, I believe, of the human arc of coming into the physical.
Are aliens or extraterrestrials or non-human intelligence spiritual beings?
I think it depends on your definition of spiritual, right? Or beings that have a spirit. In my review of these interdimensional beings, we are talking about, because we're talking about interdimensions, we're talking about many dimensions, and each one of those dimensions is operating by some base laws of frequencies. What is the frequency? It's the rate of oscillation, essentially. All matter in this construct is oscillating, and the ranges of oscillation are are designed and held by the molecules of this construct that exist within this matrix and the laws that bind this matrix. Okay, so when we go in dream state, for example, and we go into another dimension, we're entering into another dimensional plane, which is oscillating at another frequency. It could be higher, it could be a lower. But essentially, the frequency of these dimensional planes are all moving this non-physical frequency. And there are certain laws to this universe that are indisputable. All living things, all organisms, all matter is moving and has some level of consciousness. So even these organisms that we are interacting with in these alternate planes, I think what a lot of people are realizing is that they are essentially mirrors of themselves. They are definitely mirrors. We are one human race. We are one interdimensional race. I shouldn't say race. We are organisms that are deeply interconnected to many frequency organisms. And so I think because of the law of resonance, we interact with like organisms that match our frequency and that is also embedded in our genetic code. They are essentially a brother, sisters, cousins, that we are interacting with in these states, in these different brainwave states. So, to speak to interdimensionality, I think that it's important to understand that the way that we interact with them and we connect with them is really based on the frequency that we hold. That is the way that we navigate many dimensions.
We got about 90 seconds here before we have to go to break. The top of the hour, Geraldine Orozco is our guest tonight on the show. Geraldine, as we navigate through our own spirituality and our own look towards, spiritual purity or whatever we want to call it, how do we get that started? For most people, we don't know where to start. We're just trying to, put together day by day what's going on. But how do we get it going?
Yeah, so I think that the number one place to start is to begin to observe, to come into an observer state. Why? Because of the nature of this construct being consciousness, you as a conscious organism, how does consciousness function? Consciousness changes the moment it's observed. Okay, so that's what you are. The moment that you observe yourself as this whole organism, this is where you get to enter into the game. The game of this matrix. Why? Because the entire matrix is kind of running through cyclical patterns of repetition. When your soul anchors into this physical body, you are kind of programmed by your DNA, by your genetics, and the morphogenetic field creates the instructional manual that brings your body into form, which will create limitations in some way to how you navigate this realm in a form of repetition until you come into a state of observation where you can choose to break those repetitive cycles.
Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You, Hour 2 with Geraldine comes up right after this. Stay tuned, everybody. Spaced Out Radio continues momentarily. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Steve Scott. You're nailing it out of the ballpark again tonight, Geraldine.
Oh,
Good job.
That's awesome. I love your questions. Amazing questions tonight. I hope
Yes. I was scouring Twitter, researching.
so. That is awesome.
All right, we're going to take a 5.5-minute break. We're going to turn things over to Dirty Philth and Blob. Oh, that's Geraldine. Look how pretty she is. Look how pretty she is. She's like, get the picture off of me, Dave, you son of a bitch. But, you know, there we go. I'll be right back, Geraldine.
Okay.
What do you got for us, Dirty?
Oh, it's my... Oh, 1 second, I have to cough. Oh, sorry about that. I'm just finishing up move this over here a little bit more. Finishing up my Aliens at the Bayside Market, which I would have liked to seen some sort of decent photos of it. There's a lot of people there, but oh well, what are you gonna do? So we got Alien in disguise as a goofy looking tourist. I was gonna put a floral shirt on him, but I just figured I'd go with orange and blue because the others are going down there. So, and also orange is also the kitty cat color, so it means I get both teams kind of at once because I'm always on the winning side. This is goofy hat. You know, it's time to get some new pens because these ones are... The sharp edge is kind of falling off of them. I'm not satisfied with that. That's all right, though. It won't be the last alien I draw. Here's this gangly, garbage scooping alien arms and gangly alien fingers. This is yelling at the shadow guy. It's like, you should have wore a disguise, Spanky. But it's just like the Las Vegas shadow alien thing. I've seen some videos, the guys all slowing it down and like, oh, this mysterious shadow comes in, and you know what? I'd like it to be aliens, but I don't know. I need to get my super fine pen out for the writing on this. Where's the old 0.3? There it is. Oh yeah. The gray alien's gone and got himself sexy undies. That's beautiful. A little shadow being with his glowy red eyes, because that's... Whoops, I bonked it with my dome. That's usually what I figured they'd have. Just shadowy red eyes. A little bit of eyebrow there. He's kind of grumpy pants. And he's not all quite there, so he's kind of flows in the wind a little bit. Underbite. Kind of makes him a little spooky with his pokey teeth. Very important to have those. And the important thing about them is there's no definition to them besides the outlines. Which, usually on my gray aliens, I make sure I draw nipples and junk, because everyone that apparently sees them, they always say that there's never any nipples or wangs hanging out or anything like that or whatever. So, you know what? I figured my gray aliens will have nipples. So too bad, everybody, if you disagree with me. Draw your own cartoon. Anyway, here we go. He's got some... Shadow guy's got long, pokey fingers, because that way he can easily grab you when your foot's hanging off the side of your bed. Oh, yeah. He's probably actually pretty buff, too. Or he goes and lifts weights. Beats up other shadows. Yeah, there we go. Nice soft feet. His feet are nice and soft, so you can sneak around your bedroom too. Alrighty. Except if you get busted like the other alien that busted him the other day. I gotta. Oh, it's like 4 cartoons back. Well, I looked for the other cartoon. I couldn't find it. But anyways, let's do up the base side here. It has blue writing. I did a little research for it to make it as accurate as possible. Oh boy. Okay, good. I did push my microphone off mute. I have that problem. Usually because I got a potty mouth, so nobody wants to listen to me swearing and cursing away about things. B-side. I'd go to Florida because there's a lot of good industrial music down there. And the Communion After Dark guys are there. I'd go hang out with them 100%. Alrighty. Just about done here. Oh, gotta sign it.
Put the old Dirty Philth on there.
Yeah, the old brimstone symbol. Been using that since I was like 12. Look at him,
You're
Dave.
Awesome. You're awesome.
Okay. Have a good night, buddy. Thanks, everyone.
Let's take a quick. Hey, beautiful. Beautiful tonight, Filthy. And thank you to our super chatters, Night Watch, CS, Dutch Hank, T-Bone, Lorelei, and W. Decker for the super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support. Here comes hour 2, everybody. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. I am the guy who wears a lot of tinfoil around these parts. And there's enough tinfoil for you as well if you need some. Hey, thank you to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Abterminal. Abterminal is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, we have Geraldine Orozco for the Spiritual You. She comes in near the beginning of each month to break down our Zen, Chi, and Alien contact. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com. And Geraldine, it's always a pleasure to have you on this show. How are you? Oh, I think I got you muted, or you're muted. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. So happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, anytime. And I want to ask you, in regards to the ET contact that we were talking about, is this something you feel is safe for people to manifest on their own? There's a lot of people who listen to this show. They're like, I'd really like to have contact with an alien. I just want to know that they are real.
Yeah, I think when we ask that question, we need to understand, do a little bit of research about the nature of reality itself. What is reality? What is real? I was just recently listening to this lecture of Donald Hoffman, who talks about how this is a simulation, and he gives some incredibly compelling evidence of how essentially we're wearing a headset of reality, and when we die, we basically remove that headset. Nothing dies. This entire organism of this element of consciousness is something that lives on infinitely, right? And yeah, that's a very interesting way to look at things. But if we do look at things in this way, what is real changes pretty quickly, because even when you begin to research matter itself, even when I'm touching something, it's not that actually we are actually touching these two fingers. Because if you zoom in all the way at the very, very, very microscopic level, you're going to see atoms, and there is much more empty space than anything at all touching. In fact, nothing at all is touching. It is just this negative space and the pressure and the rejection of these two matters and particles against each other that is actually creating that sensation, the illusion of touch, even with myself in this table. And even between us and between all of these listeners here, we are deeply, deeply interconnected. We create this space in which we exist together. We're kind of aligning by a frequency and by resonance. We have all been brought into this space, so when you begin to kind of look into the intricacies of the nature of reality, it's hard to pinpoint what reality is, because essentially, if you understand that we are very much projecting into the reality, what you experience interdimensionally, like contact, is something that we are very much participating in the co-creation of. How? Couple ways. Number one, in DNA, you're holding a history through the Akashic records of all that you are, because remember that you in this body, in your DNA, hold records and memory of yourself in past lives and even future lives, because within this concept there is no time-space continuum in the way that we understand it. It's not a linear timeline. It's a spherical model in which everything is existing simultaneously. So why hypnotherapy works, why do these therapies work of going back, regressing in time, supposedly? Because actually we're not really regressing anywhere. We are tapping in to information that exists within your field. You have the memory and the records of everything that you are in this moment through your field. So, the morphogenetic field is essentially the Akashic record database that pools that memory. So when people are having contact experience, they are shifting the frequency. Their brain waves are changing into a level that allows them to navigate into another dimension in which they begin to access information through their own field. And when groups experience contact, all of the participants in that group are doing the exact same thing. They are aligning themselves to a certain frequency in order to have a collective experience that matches these interdimensional beings that are being met with them. And if you look at them historically and their connection historically, there's a profound connection between each of those humans and the resonance of the beings that are interacting with them. So, we play a big role in manifesting contact. Now, do we have to be careful with that? Yes, you do have to be careful with it, in the sense that you have to have a strong spiritual foundation, and you have to understand the nature of this reality. You have to understand that everything's based on frequency. If in your subconscious mind you have a tremendous amount of fear, insecurity, doubt in yourself, you can have these experiences, and because they can be very overwhelming, enlightening, you might go on a roller coaster of existential crisis where you have to adjust old ways of thinking. When you have these experiences, your paradigms are breaking, and you have to be prepared for that, because you yourself don't understand how deep your own program goes. You yourself don't understand your own fear a lot of the times. So this is something that humans, but it's all part of the growing and learning of being a human. And that's something that I will never say don't do it, because it's part of human evolution. We must do it. In fact, all of the ancient civilizations trained and practiced near-death experiences, walking in the afterlife, walking in dream state, in order to wake up consciousness, to begin to recall and embed the memory of those experiences interdimensionally. And that's what we humans in this day and age are being invited to do with the amount of contact that is available to us right now. So strong spiritual foundation, do your research, understand and get acquainted with concepts of at least the holographic structure, to begin to understand how we can begin to even conceptualize interdimensionality. Because a lot of our old ideas of physics have to be challenged when we enter into this realm. And that's something that a lot of people are not prepared to do. Also, try to let go of religious concepts and ideas, as you mentioned earlier, of sin or fear or hell or demons for a moment, and begin to acquaint yourself with your own shadow. Because as you do, you will understand how they are a reflection of the deepest, darkest parts of yourself. These lower entity beings are a reflection of our deepest subconscious desires, fears, anxieties. So this is part of the refinement of human in order to become this interdimensional being that can interact in these levels.
With that interaction that people are yearning for, well, not everybody, but some people are, to me, isn't it about the frequency that you put out to the universe? That if you say, look, I don't care what it is, good, bad, indifferent, just come take me. Let me know that this is real. And that's where, when you're opening up to calling in anything, where you can get yourself in trouble, without putting out the proper intention.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, and so when I first started coming into this realm, I used to think the same. Oh my God, you have to be very careful with what you ask for. But as I speak to so many hundreds of contactees, what I begin to realize is that, first of all, their curiosity, just the curiosity, just the part of them that is interested, pure interest in the ET concept or realms of research, that is not a random thing. It is extremely not random. It is so not random that it is embedded in their DNA, and it usually runs through their family to begin with, even if they didn't know that when they first started being curious about it. What we discover later is, guess what? You have an entire family that's had contact before you even realized this stuff, before you even questioned about ETs or interdimensionality. And so that's telling us something. Okay, there is a collective architecture to mankind. We are inherently interdimensional organisms, and interdimensional contact is inevitable. It is part of our maturing as this human organism that is multidimensional. And every human has had at least one paranormal, phenomenal kind of phenomena of some kind in their life, at least one. And that right there tells you something, because what we know to be true, or what we believe to be the constructs of our reality, is questioned in this way. The problem is we don't talk a lot about it. So I believe that these humans that are interested in it are designed to be interested in it. They are designed from their DNA. They're designed from their spiritual aspect of themselves. And there is an element of their spiritual evolution that needs them to consider this part of reality in order to mature into a next octave of frequency for them. A lot of us are also healing generations of ancestral trauma around interdimensionality. And that's really important to understand. It's our job to do the research and to be curious, ask the questions, do the experiences, without becoming too attached to any one concept, to be as fluid as possible in the information that you are uncovering personally and that you research. That's important for any realm of research, really.
Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continuing here on Spaced Out Radio. Is contact for everybody? And not just alien contact, but cryptid contact, paranormal contact. Is this something that everybody should try and expand their spiritual knowledge on?
No, I think it's absolutely up to you. If it benefits, you see, here's the thing. What we're really talking about, if you listen very carefully to the things that I'm saying here in all of these answers, it's not about the ET contact. It's about the personal development and the refining of the human into an interdimensional organism, which is back to its natural state, to its original state of consciousness. We are becoming one, means that we are, when we're born, we enter into a dualistic realm. We see everything as duality, black and white, and we have to lift that filter through the lifespan that we have back into unity consciousness, in where we don't see each other as separate, and we also don't see ourselves with all these other dimensional beings and entities as separate either. And that's part of the refinement and part of the human arc that we're experiencing as we go through this lifespan. We are remembering, we are recovering our memory as being whole. That's what it means to heal. That's what it means to embark on a spiritual journey. Um, in any spiritual journey that is going to result in healing is always going to speak about becoming whole and coming into oneness, from a place of sovereignty and discernment. And that's what the spiritual journey is about. So, we're not having ET contact to be spiritual beings. ET contact or interdimensional interactions, it's a natural side effect of waking up your vision, because your higher faculties are the way to master this matrix. If you don't master your intuition, if you don't master your awakened state of these subtle realms, you will be very easily manipulated, and you will most likely exist in a state of suffering and disempowerment. And that's what we've seen for centuries for people that have covered themselves away from this information. And it's kind of a rebirth of what we're going through right now. We are waking up and remembering that we are intergalactic, interdimensional, if you want to say it that way. Our interdimensionality is an important part to our healing of becoming one again.
Becoming one with oneself can be very difficult because there's so many emotions and ranges and mental illnesses that kind of kick in with that. Can those symptoms be troublesome for any sort of spiritual or interdimensional or alien contact?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Our emotions are kind of like the filters of our reality. So if our core emotions, if most of your emotions in the past week were shame, anger, guilt, frustration, that creates a massive filter of how you're going to see and experience the world, not only in this dream state, waking dream state, but also in the dream state that you navigate interdimensionally. So that being said, the management and the learning to master your emotions is at the foundation of mastering the matrix, because we are manipulated by our first three chakras, the root, the sacral, the solar, which manage the safety, how you feel in your body, and your sexual energy, which is your creative energy, and it's also your interrelationship exchanges, and then your emotional body. So anytime that you come into an imbalance and a disharmonious state in any of these three sectors of yourself, you will always only be seeing half truths. You will never be able to see full truth. And that's something that's important for people that are learning discernment. When your emotions taint your intuition, that's not a pure intuition. You are, imposing your belief systems in the experience, and that can be very messy. So it's important for us to try to come to as much of a 0 point, as neutral state as possible, in order to try to see as much pure truth and pure experience in ourselves. And that requires a tremendous amount of authenticity, and non-judgment. That is something that we have to practice with ourselves and with the external. And that will help us see things more clearly. You see, something I also realized with contactees is that after interviewing and working with them, a lot of the trauma that they initially encounter in ET contact very quickly becomes a completely different thing. And we experience traumatic experiences. Trauma is us learning to navigate the unknown. So the more we become comfortable with the unknown, it'll be easier to navigate everyday life experiences as well as interdimensional, and integrate any sort of trauma that we might be experiencing.
I love that answer. Let's get to some audience questions here. Let's go to Sierra. She's got a couple. If the Anunnaki can create an entire race, why couldn't they find gold on other planets to fix their very 3D problem of a deteriorated atmosphere on their planet? gold is on other planets too?
That's an awesome question. And it's one I asked when I heard the concept of the Anunnakis looking for gold in this planet. But and this is why the way that I perceive this information is a little different, is slightly different. But honestly, we would have to go really deep into this. But let me briefly summarize. Uh, in my hypnotherapy in 2017, I was part of these Anunnakis, and I was harvesting gold, monoatomic gold, from the human soul, from the remains of these physical organisms, and creating these giant portals based on these monoatomic gold that was recovered from the human. If and when the human learned how to alchemize their primordial life force into these chrism, what we know as chrism, through the pineal gland, which then created these crystallized oil that is embedded with monatomic gold. And so that embeds in the DNA, and from there is created the human race. Okay, so what's interesting is that all of these original texts about alchemy and about the transmutation of primordial life force into this gold-like substance is something that is deeply hidden through history. Every single scripture about it was destroyed, hidden, dissolved, taken out of the main scripts. And there's a profound reason for that. That when the human race wakes up consciousness to these these practices, this is when the human comes into the godlike state, right? So the human that enters into the state of transmutation and alchemy becomes a creator. And I believe that this is what is meant by these stories of the Anunnakis. We do have this Anunnaki bloodline within us. There's a major history behind that. But it wasn't much about finding actual nuggets of gold as it was to refine the organisms that were being created in order to become transmutational conduits. Conduit for what? Source, which is infinite creative life force power. And that is how you regenerate. This is from where the concept of the chalice came from, as above, so below, a womb of creation, and also the golden ark, of wealth, that in any land that it is brought upon, that's where life flourishes. Okay, so I think that these are symbolic. There's a deep symbolism behind this story. And I think that it's more about humanity coming into a refined state of creation than it is of any one race trying to survive. Although our lack of knowledge of alchemy and transmutation makes you manipulating. And so any kind of race will die, as our race has the potential of dying if we don't learn how to alchemize and transmute into higher creation states. So I definitely think that the human race is coming into a new era of creation and procreation that is more intentional, that is more high vibration. As we see the waves of star children's that are being born today are extremely awakened. They remember, they have their memory and their DNA super activated for the reason of this new race that is being seeded.
Under a minute to go here before we need to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Geraldine, quick answer. Are we seeded by alien races right now?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. In a sense, through the filters of how we see the evolution of organisms, the answer would be yes. But in the bigger picture, we are talking about frequencies manifesting in order to experience, to create opportunities for experience. The infinite potential, the infinite source, is kind of experiencing and growing through each and every soul that is incarnate in this dimensional realm for the purpose of experience. To answer super quick, yeah.
All right. Geraldine Orozco, we have her till the top of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. We'll continue with audience questions and get more into ETs, Zens, consciousness, and more right here only on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
You're on fire tonight.
Awesome. I love the questions. Amazing questions.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I got one for you.
Tell me.
3 weeks ago, I was doing my ghost tour. And first time since I started it, I had one of my guests possessed.
Ooh, interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like spirit totally took over her body. And it took me about half an hour to get this spirit out of her.
Whoa.
It was intense.
Wow.
Intense. Wouldn't tell me its name. Knew it was a man.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a little worried when she started dragging me across the floor, like yanking me across the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I yanked back.
Yeah.
And then started screaming at the top of her lungs, stomping her feet. That was kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Had to call in everything at that point in order to get it out of her.
Wow.
Intense.
That is
Intense.
incredible, Dave.
Yeah.
But you did it. Sounds like you did it.
I did it. I had to bring him into me in order to get it out of her. So then that dude and I went to war, and that was fun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my guides kind of kicked his ass. So.
Wow. And you're really good at alchemizing that stuff. So that's amazing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell I know how to do it. I just know how to do it.
Yeah, well, you have a history of that. You're really good at this. I remember. I think in our hypnotherapy we kind of talked about that too, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's amazing. But what do you do to battle it out of your body, by the way?
Let's see here. I called my psychic friend Jackie Harmon to help me out. And she kind of walked me through it on just trying to get the guy to release. First thing I did was I have a spirit guide that I can get to just like at the snap of a finger.
Mm-hmm.
So I contacted him, and then as weird as it sounds, it won't sound weird to you, but you and I have talked about my bodyguards on the other side, the big guys with the cloaks. Yeah. Called them in. And so it was a team effort, but it was good.
Wow. Well, that's good that you have that support. That's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
After he let go of me, and it was like it was like an adrenaline rush.
Wow.
Just filled with, smiles and laughter, and like, just kind of looking back, like that was intensely awesome.
Oh my gosh. Wow, Dave, that's a powerful experience. But not everyone can do that. You have to know how to alchemize that out of the body, because, obviously you can attach to it. If you get scared or something like that, it'll attach to you. And then some people have a hard time letting go. So that's amazing that you did.
Well, the one thing that I would say about that is, for the first time, I did feel that fear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That fear, like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, no, that's what he's wanting me to say. So that way it pushes me away. And I kind of got mad and fired back at him.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up using profanity.
Well, that's the least of the issues. At least you got him out of there. That's the important thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was actually kind of cool because, like, watching her face morph and her voice change.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is on.
Yeah.
This is completely on.
Yeah.
And I've
We
talked to her
definitely.
since,
You
and
did?
she,
Yeah.
yeah, she's like, I love the tour, but I'm never coming back. I'm like, don't worry, he can't get you anymore.
Oh no. Yeah. But you know what though? What's really interesting in hypnotherapy, we do that too. Sometimes people have demons like that attached to their body, not demons necessarily, but just attachments. And they come up and it's amazing. Their face changes, the voice changes, everything changes in the middle of the hypnotherapy. And then when we let it go, it's like this peace. It's like a completely different face comes over
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on right there. We're coming back in about 17 seconds. Big thank you to T-Bone ×2, Lorelei, Dutch Hank, W. Decker, CS, and Night Watch for the super chats. Here we go, everybody. Well, we got like a couple seconds, I guess. I called that a little early. Let's get going here in like 3 seconds.
Cool.
Hey, we're at the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears. And we want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, did you know all of our archives are free? Yeah, they are. At youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and on any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. All right, Geraldine Orozco, we have her until the top of the hour here on the show, and we always love having Geraldine here. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com, if you want to check it on out. Thank you for being here, Geraldine.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. All
right, let's get to toe tag here. Do humans use bioelectrical energy of consciousness for OBEs, astral travel, and Reiki healing?
Yes, absolutely. Essentially, because this is a construct of hologram, the way that the oscillation creates the friction, essentially, it creates a oscillation which creates a toroidal field. And that toroidal field has a positive, negative charge, both ends to that. As you know, the planet Earth has it, right? Our physical bodies have it. All living organisms in this universe, in this construct, in this planet Earth, actually are operating by these toroidal spinning vortexes that are created with duality embedded within them. So that creates the two charges that create this construct, architecture of an organism, and all things have that. So how cells and molecules are communicating with one another are through quantum non-locality, in which through resonance these two molecules are kind of communicating. And there's also another element which is really interesting, that is entanglement. And that entanglement allows the two molecules to communicate with one another and to remember each other as well, and to build networks with one another. Okay, so it's through that network system that interconnects us through resonance. And from this network system is how we can send information, healing information, even negative information, and how we are moving also in and out of this physical vessel as an essence that is interdimensionally moving through resonance in dimensions. And that would be astral travel, and that would be, out-of-body experiences as well. So essentially, we're just the consciousness, this conduit of energy that is kind of moving. And if you can think of your entire body, your morphogenetic field, as a sphere of these points of frequency ranges, you are basically moving through the sphere. And every part of you that triggers a memory, it's basically registering with a certain point of frequency that is embedded in the memory of your field. So that's how we communicate. This is also how we recognize one another. It's how we experience things like deja vu, memories and experiences that have been relived or exist simultaneously in a timeline now become into your awareness. They come into your awareness. So the answer is yes.
All right, let's continue on here with another question from Sierra, who is asking, why don't the ETs take consent into account when it comes to hybridization, abductions, abuse, etc.?
Yeah, the question is, why don't you think they do? And I think that this is a misconception, um, based on and this is a really good example of how we have profound programming based not only on social engineering, but just our understanding of how we filter experiences for especially sex. And I will say it in this manner because you see, we may not realize it, but our concept of sex is extremely inverted to begin with. There is a lot of remnants of concepts of shame and guilt that were embedded by religious core belief systems for centuries, as well as misogynistic, imbalanced divine feminine aspects of holding energy for centuries. And so when you have those kinds of core belief systems, the way that you look at sex is not going to be a complete picture. It's only going to be part of it. Whether you're a man or a woman, you're going to be playing the roles that you have inherited as a core belief system. So what happens when that happens is that the way that we look at consent, the exchange of these life forces becomes inverted. In fact, fundamentally, the way that we attract our partners now, most of it is rooted in subconscious belief systems of abuse towards ourselves or abuse that we inherited from mother or father. And that actually becomes the magnet that attracts the partners we have. And more than likely, we end up repeating patterns of trauma within our relationships, right? Which obviously relate into sex as well. So that being said, we make experiential agreements with one another. And the way that we make these agreements are based on our core subconscious belief systems. Now, these agreements are made ancestrally, and we have many generations of agreements that we make within our family of the way that we see each other, the way that we procreate and we pick our partners. But interdimensionally, we're also kind of navigating these kinds of contractual agreements as well. And we have made agreements in other lifetimes, simultaneous lifetimes, in other points of our evolution that we are experiencing the hybridization program. Not only that, but when you experience the hybridization program, it doesn't mean that it's happening here and now. A lot of times we are recovering memories of having been in hybridization programs. And not always do they affect you in this physical body. They can be in other timelines and other lifetimes. But you are recovering that memory for a reason. And the reason for that is that because we are so deeply interconnected, you have an invitation to wake up consciousness and to direct the product of your creation into a higher octave from whatever state it was in. You can heal the connection between the offspring that you created, wherever that is, and heal it into a higher octave of existence. And you do that through your own personal healing. A lot of people that have traumatic hybridization experiences have severe trauma within their own bloodline that has to be cleaned and healed, generations of it. And it isn't until you start to clean that up that you begin to heal the interdimensional experiences as well. So this can work vice versa. It can be an invitation for healing trauma on the earth, but always an invitation for you as a soul to heal your ancestral lineage and to heal the collective earth. Another thing that I will add, because this is a very complex topic and I can't possibly talk about all of the aspects right now, but the other aspect of it is that a lot of times when you have these abductions and hybridization experiences, you are a soul that has incarnated many, many lifetimes, and you have a lot of work to do in cleaning up your DNA for the children that you're going to bring into this world now at this time. Because remember that your children are also hybrids. Okay, they are also hybrids that are created before you are even created. So that's something that needs to be understood.
All right, let's go to Sweet Tony D here, who is asking from the UK. In Western world, we talk a lot of demons, etc. Remarkably, in China, they do not have demons and evil, apparently. Is demons and evil a Western manifestation?
Hi, Tony. Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that 100%, but I guess I would have to understand your definition of demons and evil. Um, in Asia, in almost every civilization, there is a dualistic manifestation of light, whether it's dark entities and light entities. In almost every single ancient civilization, uh, in Chinese, in the ancient China, they do have. However, maybe the way that they translate the ancient text isn't defining them as evil, perhaps, only because they have a more balanced perspective of that duality. And I think that's something that's very embedded in ancient Chinese culture. um, I mean, going back to the Taoist text, everything has duality, the yin and the yang. That's a core fundamental part of where all belief systems stem from. The Tao Te Ching talks a lot about that. And if you go back to Hinduism, same thing. You have the whole in the Vedas, you have the whole entities and beings and the sub beings that are more parasitic. So I think that all ancient cultures have that. I think that it's very much a part of this dimension that we experience duality in whatever form it might be. So, yeah, I'm not sure that that's 100% the way I see it.
Okay, let's go over to. I think that's all of our questions for right now.
Cool.
We're caught up. Well, yeah, we're caught up right now. So as we move on with what is right, what is wrong, what is evil, what is dark, what is taking advantage of our bodies, and what is just wanting to take us for a cuddle on the couch. These ETs can't seem to make up their mind what they want. They come in and out whenever they want. How many cases of all of this? I mean, we always talk about the negative side, but how many cases have you dealt with where there's been healings?
A lot. And I mean, a lot of like, I mean, even people have healed from diseases after their contact. Even myself, I've had healing experiences. Now, at the time, I didn't understand that they were connected. There's no way I would have understood what was happening. But when I review my life, I'm like, okay, after I had the dream of the white light, I was healed the next day. You begin to realize, wait a minute, there's more to this. We're not really alone. We're part of a system here, and humans have guides, which are fractals of themselves. Just like you have a guide, you just told us a beautiful story of your guide. Well, we need to utilize those guides. And the only way to open up communication is by opening your higher faculties to connect to those parts of us that are in higher states of consciousness and to integrate them, bring them into the physical body and live them out in your life so that you can experience bliss and harmony. That's super important. So I think it's important that humans recognize that, and use that, because um, humans have an idea that we're very, when they don't believe in a god or they give away their power to a god, um, we actually are embedded in helplessness, uh, and it's important to understand that you are the creator of your experiences, that you play a huge role in the experiences that you're having.
I never thought about it that way. It is unique. That's for certain. It's very unique that it's happening. But when people are getting healed, are they getting healed mentally? Are they getting healed physically? Are they getting healed internally? There's
Yes.
heart. Because I know and I think I told you this, but the last time that I felt I was taken, I felt, that I had been having some heart troubles with this, but while I was just transitioning onto a CPAP machine and
Wow.
everything, shortly after that, I actually felt like I was healed. And I woke up extremely emotional. Like I
Wow.
was actually in tears,
Mm-hmm.
that I was emotional about it. And something felt different in my chest on the left side of my heart. I don't know what they did, but I could tell you it felt different.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'll refer you to Preston Dennett, which I'm sure obviously you know. Preston Dennett is amazing at researching and documenting thousands of healing stories of people that have healed with ET contact. But even in my own work in hypnotherapy, there are so many healing experiences that occur. And I'm not just talking about physical, psychological, emotional, ancestral. I mean, we're healing profound aspects of the self. So yeah, so it's important, to connect and to open to that, be open.
Have you been healed?
I have had incredible healing experiences. Uh, I actually almost died from this rare amoeba that the doctor could not find and could not classify. Tried to give me all kinds of antibiotics. I would have severe allergies to all of them. And then one night, when my family was basically like, okay, he said, you have like 2 months left to live. Um, because the body was just draining life force out. I just couldn't not keep anything. um, I had this dream where this white light comes, this huge white light comes, and this being touches me on my forehead. And next thing I know, the next day, I'm 100% fine. I go to the doctor. The doctor can't find the amoeba, can't find any issue with me. So that was an incredibly profound experience. But the funny thing is that I didn't remember this dream. I didn't realize that the dream was connected to that experience until much later. I've also had other experiences like that. When I was a child, I burned myself, and I was in the hospital, in and out of the hospital a lot, in surgeries and skin grafts and things like this. And there were many nights that these angel or angelic light beings would come and stand around me and heal me. So, I've had many of these experiences. It also happened when I had severe um, emotional distress, that these beings would come and communicate and speak. Yeah, so it's really interesting. It's been profound experiences personally.
How do the aliens choose who they're going to heal and why?
I don't think that they are choosing. I think we are choosing. I think that a higher part of us remembers the tools that are available to us. And I think that we become a frequency match to these beings that then offer assistance. And there are agreements that are being made. There, we can do an entire show on this, but there are agreements and exchanges that are made. A lot of times, these beings heal you, and sometimes there's an exchange. You have to sustain a certain frequency for a certain amount of time. The beings learn through you, they experience through you. In some more parasitic cases, there can be exchanges too. And we have stories of, signing with the devil. Like, for example, Paganini, who signed with the devil and then all of a sudden could play the violin so magnificently. That's what was said, right? But that's where these stories come from. There are agreements that are made, and we make those agreements. Sometimes when we don't keep our frequency high enough, we go back into these states of suffering. So it's a frequency game, and it's something that we have to understand how to clear karmic agreements and how to create agreements that are sustainable, regenerative, healing, and have a longevity.
My goodness. My goodness. And we got about 5 minutes to go here before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Geraldine Orozco is our guest with The Spiritual You, her website, geraldineorozco.com. What kind of frequency changes within us in order to connect with our higher selves, so that way we can get that contact with the paranormal or get that contact with non-human intelligence?
So I think the closer to the 0 point that you can get, the higher the frequency being you're going to interact with. The lower you go, the more lower the beings you're going to interact with. The more physical, the more transactional, the more parasitic beings that you're going to interact with. Now, you have to use discernment, because in these realms, a lot of times there is screening. There's a lot of screening. There's a lot of deception that can occur, and it's because we are still deceiving ourselves. We have filters. Filter is a deception mechanism that we believe is preserving certain parts of us. So, the most important place to start is the defiltering of yourself into the most authentic part of you. Come into your deepest, rawest authenticity. Don't be afraid of your shadow. Don't be afraid of the part of you that is dark, the part of you that is angry, fearful. Face that part and gently bring those little inner children that are there at the roots of those emotions. Provide them with the love, with the comfort, with the support that they need, with the mothering and the fathering that they didn't have in this realm, and allow them to come into their whole self. This is how these parts of you mature. And therefore, we're able to sustain higher bands of frequency, because that's an alchemical process that happens when we collect those little inner children within ourselves that are suffering and crying out and displaying angers and fears and all these actions. We are transmuting our frequency into a higher octave. And that higher octave biologically shifts your organism, the structure of your organism, into symmetry, in where you begin to embody a Merkaba body, a more geometric structure that is harmonized. That geometric structure creates a more balanced vortex spin within your toroidal field that allows you to come into a more centripetal spin. And the more negative and depleting your energy is, the more centrifugal you are. You deplete. But the more centripetal you become, you begin to create an implosion within you. And this is where this sine wave is basically flattening in a way that creates harmony, stillness, coherence within your body. And also your electromagnetic field is expanded in that way, where your heart comes into coherence, where you begin to see connectivity. You feel it, you experience it in the world around you, and that allows you to heal. So there are several different things that can be done.
90 seconds to go with you tonight. And as per usual, it flies on by, Geraldine, every time you are here. Do us a favor, tell everybody where they can find your next conference or your next public appearance and your YouTube channel and website.
Yeah, it's so great to be here. My YouTube channel is GeraldineOrozco.com. I have a lot of free, awesome content there, and you can sign up with me to do a DNA reprogramming, extremely healing, profound work on GeraldineOrozco.com, and a hypnotherapy if you're interested in doing some deep reconnection with your higher self. GeraldineOrozco.com. And if you're an experiencer, hybridmother.com. We have free support group there every month, and it'll be an honor to connect with you. I'll also be on Contact at Sea in September, so definitely check me out there. We're going to be in Alaska. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. It's a cruise in Alaska, in the ocean. We're going to do all kinds of night watch tours, and it's a tremendous vortex of Alaska. So definitely check us out. It's going to be really fun.
I was supposed to go on that.
Why aren't you going?
There's sharks in the water.
But you won't be in the water.
Have you seen Jaws, where he takes down boats? I don't care if it's a cruise ship or an aircraft carrier. I'm not stepping on a boat.
I get it. Well, you will be missed. I'm so sad you're not, but all right.
You know what? Maybe next year, because I know Susan Shumsky wants me to do it next year.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. If you do it, I'll do it.
Yes, okay. Yes, please do.
Yes. All right, Geraldine, we're going to say good night to you. Much love to you, and we'll talk to you next month. Coming up next in hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio, Steve Stockton kicks things off with another weird story. Jackie Harmon talks about a new TV show on the Crypted Report. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Kira, I'm not taking that chance if there's Megalodon or not. Not taking that chance. Nope. Nope. Orcas eating rudders, aircraft carriers and hitting submarines and whatever it might be. Not doing it. 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 Nope. Not doing it. Not doing it at all. All right. Thank you again, T-Bone, for the hat trick. And thank you to T-Bone times 3, Night Watch, CS, Dutch Hank, Lorelei, and W. Decker for the super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support. Yep. Kira freaking me out with the megalodons. Thanks, Kira. Give me nightmares all night long, and I know you're laughing right now. I know you are. Jackie Harmon's wearing an alien shirt. Yep. We got 30 seconds. Hi, Juliana. Hi, Davey. The new Alien trailer. Is that for the television show, Davey? Yes. Megalodaves terrify me. They mess your hair up. Don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Nothing ugly there. Here we go. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We're always broadcasting live, and we love it when you are all here as well. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. Yeah, thank you for tuning us on in and making us so popular with our radio stations. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is Abterminal. Abterminal is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on the show. Now, it's that time of the night we say hello to Steve Stockton, who brings us another creepy story.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. Now, I've been a park ranger for over 15 years, stationed in Yosemite National Park. I've seen a lot, both the beauty and the danger that nature holds. But there are things that happen in these woods that defy explanation, things that haunt me to this day. This is the story of what happened last summer, a story about people disappearing in the park, and why I now believe there are forces in these woods beyond our understanding. It started with a routine call. A young couple, I'll call them Sarah and Tom, have been reported missing by their families. They were experienced hikers, but they hadn't returned from a 3-day trek they'd planned. I was assigned to lead the search. I didn't think much of it at the time. People get lost. It happens more often than you'd think, but this one was different. We set out early, small team of rangers and volunteers. We had a rough idea of their planned route, starting from a remote campsite far from the more popular areas of the park. The first day of searching was uneventful. We found their campsite, but it was empty. Their tent was still there, along with most of their gear. It was as if they'd just stepped out and never came back. That night, we camped near the site. The forest was unnervingly quiet, the kind of silence that presses down on you. Around the campfire, the older rangers shared stories, tales of people who had vanished without a trace, of strange lights in the woods, of voices that seemed to come from nowhere. I'd heard them all before, but boy, did they ever feel different out there in the dark. The next morning, we found their trail. It led deeper into the forest, away from the main path. We followed it for hours, the trees growing denser and the light dimmer. The deeper we went, the more uneasy I felt. The forest seemed to change, the familiar landmarks disappearing, replaced by an oppressive alien landscape. Around midday, we found something that chilled me to the bone. It was an old abandoned cabin, barely visible through the trees. Now, like I said, I've been working in Yosemite for years and never seen it before. It looked ancient, the wood rotting and covered in moss. We decided to investigate, hoping to find some clue about Sarah and Tom. Inside, the air was cold and damp, boards creaking under our boots. The walls seemed to close in on us. We found signs that someone had been here recently. A small fire pit, some food wrappers, and a tattered map. But there was something else, too. Symbols carved into the walls, strange and unsettling. None of us recognized them, but they seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. We left the cabin and continued our search, but the forest seemed to twist around us, leading us in circles. By evening, we realized that we were lost. Our GPS devices, usually quite reliable, showed us in places we hadn't been. It was as if the forest itself was conspiring against us. That night, we camped again, though sleep was elusive. The voices started just after midnight, soft, unintelligible murmurs that seemed to come from all around us. At first, I thought it was just the wind, but as the night wore on, the voices grew louder, more urgent. It was like the forest was alive, watching us, waiting for us to make a mistake. The next morning, we woke to find that one of our team members, Jack, was missing. Oh, his gear was still there, his sleeping bag unrolled, but there was just no sign of him. Panic set in. We called out for him, searched the immediate area, but it was as if he vanished into thin air. We found his flashlight near the edge of the camp, its beam weak but still on, pointing into the forest. We pressed on, now driven by a mix of fear and determination. We had to find Sarah, Tom, and now Jack. The deeper we went, the worse things got. The forest, it just felt off. It felt wrong. The air thick with a sense of impending doom. We found more of those symbols carved into trees, the same strange markings as in the cabin. Around noon this day, we stumbled upon a clearing. In the center stood a massive tree, its bark twisted and gnarled, and at its base, an old stone well. The sight of it filled me with a deep, primal fear. I approached it cautiously, not sure what would be in there, the hair on the back of my neck standing up. Looking down into the well, I saw nothing but darkness. But then, faintly, I heard it, a voice coming from deep within. It was clear now, almost understandable. It seemed to be calling for help, begging for release. I stepped back, scared out of my mind.
Steve Stockton from Among the Missing, his channel called Tales Untold. He changed the channel on it, which is kind of cool. So we're going to have to start calling it Tales Untold now. But yeah, he kicks off hour number 3 here on the show each and every night. So make sure you check it on out. All right. From the missing to the mysterious, let's go over to Jackie Harmon. We have the Crypted Report. Jackie Harmon, glad to have you back on the show. How you been doing?
Good. How are you doing? Are you feeling any better?
I am feeling better. So tonight I do have my tissues with me, but my nose seems to have decided to stop running for now.
That's
which is
good. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Good.
Yes. And you know what? It's all good. It's all good. I'm feeling good, looking good. Got a new ball cap.
Great. I love
Yeah,
it. That's a
me
great
too.
cap.
It's a Sasquatch getting abducted by aliens.
I love it.
Me too. Me too. We got a lot of cool stories to cover tonight. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the new show that's going to be coming out. So let me grab my glasses here really quick because I'm blind as a bat, you guys. So there's a brand new series. Okay, wait. First of all, I don't even know if it's brand new or if it's like a series that is like a
It's
new season. It's brand
brand
new. Okay, so they've got this all new series called Alien Encounters, Fact or Fiction. Premieres on Discovery Channel on June 19th, but we actually watched the trailer to check that out. And I mean, obviously, you can't watch the entire show, but what the gist of it is basically like they have certain people on the show who I guess like watch other people's videos. I'm not exactly sure what the entire thing is, but I'm guessing that it's like from what the trailer's showing that people show them their evidence and then they decide if that's what like it's real or if it's not real, and they're claiming to be experts on the show.
Yeah, so I know a few of these people who are on the show. Okay, and they've been guests on this show. The hosts, Mitch Horowitz and Chrissy Newton, have been on Spaced Out Radio, and a number of the guests have been guests here as well, including Hoodoo Tall, Tim Senor, and others. And you know what? Here's the base of the show. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
they are going to be taking these people, looking at the evidence, and debating whether or not what they found on camera or on photo was real.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem that I have with this. First off, I know 100% the hosts of this show are not experts. They are not experts whatsoever. And I'm not saying that to insult them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if I'm going to get an expert to look at my footage, the first person I'm going to is MUFON's Mark D'Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally what he does for a living. Okay. I'm going to somebody who is a videographer or somebody into video forensics and something like that. Number two, this is what I hate about these type of shows.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you to tell me that what I experienced wasn't good or wasn't real? You weren't there. You weren't there to see the before. You weren't there to see the after. You weren't there to see the commotion maybe of the UFO. You weren't there to see it blink out. You weren't there when it was doing all types of twists and turns or maybe coming closer or reacting to when you ask questions. Because there's a number of people out there who've literally said, hey, can you flash if you hear me? Flash.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little too coincidental when stuff like that happens. That might be a poor example for some, but I know the people who put this together. They're good people. They're looking for entertainment. But in talking to a couple people who were interviewed for this show, they felt like it was a setup. It was a setup to make experiencers look bad in most cases.
Well, wasn't one of the girls on the show like claiming to be a journalist and she's not actually a real journalist?
Yes, which is a giant pet peeve of mine.
I've actually done shot some TV for another big channel on TV before, and this is a common thing for people who are shooting shows. They want you to take on basically this personality, or okay, now you are this, now you've become that. Like, even if you know anything about it or not, they want you to kind of have this title to make it look like you're this super important person. And most of the time, you don't know anything about that. So that's a really common thing too with these TV shows. So if you're watching something and these people are claiming like, yeah, I'm the expert, maybe not. Probably not.
Well, you know what? One of the things in talking to the couple people that I talked to regarding this show about their involvement, they felt that no matter what they said,
Mm-hmm.
whether it made the camera or not, they felt that what they said was almost being manipulated to try and confuse them into what they saw. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot like when people see Bigfoot and they want to convince you it's a bear.
Exactly. And I understand the cliche, I know what I saw. It could be misconstrued or people's minds and sights can be misconstrued.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Into experiencing things that you think you're experiencing, but you're really not. However, for the most part, these people are bringing evidence. They were lucky enough to catch it on film.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'm not silly enough here to, Susan Alloway in our chat room says, Dave, I was interviewed. I felt the same way. So
Oh,
thank you for confirming that, Susan.
yeah.
Very much appreciate it. And I'm I don't know whether the prerogative of this show was to make experiencers look bad, or
Mm-hmm.
if it was made to maybe be a little bit skeptical and overly skeptical. But to me, the people I've talked to, and now we have Susan in our audience who is part of that, who can confirm this, it
Mm-hmm.
made them feel very uncomfortable, that they were almost in a police interrogation. And from what I heard, the people
Wow.
going in did not know that that was going to happen.
Oh, wow.
And for full disclosure, myself and Samantha Mowat were asked to take part in this. I said no. And I know Samantha said no.
Yeah, especially if you feel that way. It's a good thing you didn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's the show called again? Alien?
It's Alien Encounters, fact or fiction on Discovery Channel. It's going to premiere on June 19th. So, like I said, we haven't actually seen the show. So, it might be maybe better after you watch it, but basing it off of just the, few minutes, like even a couple minutes that you get to watch, it just doesn't really feel like it's going to be that in depth of real people giving you real answers. It's almost like we're going to look at your stuff and then convince you that you didn't see it. This isn't anything real, make you feel dumb about even saying that you saw something. And, it kind of gave me a little bit of a weird vibe.
I just feel, and maybe I'm going to take this on a personal level, because like I said, I do know members of the crew of that television show, and they are good people. Okay. But there's my yeah, but okay. There, I'm throwing in my yeah, but here. My big thing for this one, Jackie, is
Mhm.
this. I'm tired of experiencers being exposed to so-called professionals or experts, okay, who are usually not, except when they play one on television,
Mhm.
and B, have no idea of the emotional ramifications of what a true experience is all about. And it doesn't have to be a scary encounter. I've had great encounters with Sasquatch, or when I've seen them, that
Wow.
have affected me. Okay. And I know we throw around this term extremely loosely these days, and I really do think it really needs to be uh, held for people with real dire situations, and that's the term PTSD. But there are people who have had UFO encounters, alien encounters, cryptid encounters, paranormal encounters, who
Yeah.
are suffering from the good or bad of what happened, because they can't wrap their mind around having that experience. And I think this show paints, in just seeing the trailer, I'm not impressed. I think it paints people and experiencers, especially,
Mhm.
in a very moronic light. Like we're making fun of experiencers once again,
Yeah.
and I'm tired of that. I'm
Yeah.
tired of people. I mean, for people tuning in on our radio side for the first time, I am a journalist by trade. It's what I went to school for. It's what I spent 10 years doing. But I'm an experiencer of the unknown as well. And I don't like people trying to play me as a fool. I remember going on this one show where I'm watching this guy in the chat room and he's like, that didn't happen. You're lying. And I said to the guy right on the air, I said, were you there? I said, do you live near Mission, British Columbia?
Hmm.
I said, were you in the forest with Samantha and I? Could you tell me what street it was on? Where we were in the forest? I said, because there were only two of us there. But if you were hiding behind a tree, let me know. Let me know if you were there.
Exactly.
And then they backpedal. Well, it just sounds so unbelievable. I said, do you think I wanted this to happen? Experiencers don't want this to happen. Jackie, you're an experiencer.
Yeah.
You didn't ask for it, did you?
No, I did not. And as a matter of fact, we were just talking about this on Rob's show on Sunday night, how my son also has paranormal activity going on in his life, has his whole life since he was a baby. And him and I just had a very strange experience in our home. And I decided to share that with you guys. And it was very odd and something out of the norm, nothing we'd ever seen before. And now we have talked about it and kind of thought about like what, it could have been. And, but the problem with it is it has caused my son a lot of anxiety, depression, like you said, PTSD. And he's even gone as far as like literally talking about taking his own life, which has scared me to death. And so I decided to talk about it on the show the other night because I want people to feel like it doesn't matter what you have experienced. It's okay to come out and talk to people like us. We understand. We get it. We're your support team. So don't be afraid to, come forward and say, look, I saw this or I experienced that. And there's a lot of people who won't because they're scared to death.
I agree with you. They're scared to death. They didn't want this. They didn't ask for this. And to have a TV show that uses fake professionals, okay, and I'm going to use that term loosely, okay, because like I said, I do know people involved in this show, and I
Mhm.
like those people, and I'm sure if they hear this, I'm going to hear about it, okay, and I know the person who's going to call me too, and I'll just say hi, David, at this point. But
Well,
I don't like
well,
people putting down experiencers.
yeah.
When they weren't there, they're going off of vocal information,
Mhm.
and you're going to tell me what I did or did not experience? Like, I know they say yes,
The two
you caught
people.
something, but on the trailer they also show we don't think that you caught a UFO. Right? And you can see the guy's frustration, like, who are you to tell me what I saw? I know what I saw. Right? But now that person who's going out in public, putting their name forward and their
Mhm.
face forward, their experience forward, is now going to be subject to ridicule over it
Oh,
all.
for sure.
I don't like that.
Especially from the people who don't believe are going to just be like, hey, like, we told you, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't believe in that. You shouldn't be looking for that. You're an idiot, whatever. And
Hold that thought. Jackie Harmon, the Crypted Report. We're going to finish up with the new television show and paranormal.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
When we return. You know what's screwed is Merle and I have had some people. We're trying to put as you know, a television show together.
Mhm.
Okay, with Samantha. We can't get anybody to look at it. Our idea is fantastic. Nobody's doing it. Yet something like this gets picked up by Discovery to embarrass people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy what some things will be picked up. Like I said a minute ago, I shot a show back in 2019, and our show was to air in March of 2020. And because everything got shut down, we weren't able to make any more shows. So, I mean, it just it cut everything, just done. Like, you can't get together, you can't film. And, we might have been able to put out something really great, but yeah, they put out really strange shows sometimes. And you're just like, really? Like, this is what you're going to put out? Like, there are so many great ideas and people who have these great groups that can go out and really do amazing things. And then sometimes they put out some really bad stuff. But, like I said, I haven't seen the show yet. Haven't really given it that chance of okay, let me watch it. It's just that initial feeling of I'm not really loving the fact that you're knocking people down to feel like you're not validating, you're not helping them feel like what they saw was real.
And like I said, I really have no respect for people who self-title themselves. No respect,
Exactly.
So that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change the world, but when
Mm-mm.
people hear the trailer, they'll know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I always ask these fake journalists a couple of things, because they think if they do a podcast or write a blog that automatically they're journalists. Okay. No, you're not. You may be conducting citizen journalism, but you're not conducting media journalism. It's a
Exactly.
big difference. Big difference. And
it makes a difference when people have the experience and write about it. So,
Right.
you know that they did that. They went through that.
To us real journalists, we understand how an interview is conducted. It's not aha, caught ya. It's
Mhm.
not I'm going to berate you or belittle you. It's
Mm-mm.
not how it works. Okay, that's all entertainment on talk shows. That's all entertainment for YouTube or
That's right.
whoever it may be. It's not journalism. Yeah. But
Exactly.
I always like to ask these fake journalists, what beat did you work on? And it's funny, they don't know how to answer that. Well, I'm a journalist. What beat did you work on? If you're a real journalist, tell me the beat you worked on. Did you work the crime beat? Did you work the political beat? Did you work the sports beat? Did you work the health and wellness beat? What beat did you work?
No answer.
They can never answer that. They can never answer that.
For instance, for myself, I've been wanting to write a book for years and years, and these are all off of my own personal experiences.
Mhm.
I've been through so many different things and lived in a home for 4 straight years where there wasn't some crazy activity every single day that we lived there. So, I mean, it's just a plethora of things that I can remember and talk about and share. But, it's just so many that I just thought, well, I need to eventually just write a book and share basically my story. So I don't consider myself in any way, shape or form, a journalist or a major blogger, or and there's another thing I'll tell you right now is I've been in this field since I was 4. I still don't consider myself an expert. So, I'm always learning. I'm always willing to learn. And if you consider yourself an expert, it's almost like you've tapped out of information. You can't learn anymore, and that's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Fully agree with you. Fully agree with you. But that's where we are.
Yep.
And the sad part about it is those people get television shows.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how that one goes. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see after it does come out, after people who are watching watch the show, let us know what you guys think, because
Mhm.
I'll watch the first one and see, how it goes. But yeah, I'm not super crazy just about like how they're doing it and what the storyline is.
Hold
So-
that right there, Jack, because we're going to come back here in a couple of seconds here. Thank you to W. Decker, Lorelei, T-Bone ×3, Dutch Hank, CS, and Night Watch for the super chats. Here we go, everybody. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in. And I want to remind all of you that if you don't know already, all of our podcasts and archives are free. We don't charge for them like other shows do. We keep them free for you. And let me tell you where you can find them. You can find them on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio or any major podcast network. So make sure you go check them out. The only thing I want in return, I want you to hit subscribe or follow on those platforms. That's it. I think that's pretty fair trade. So I hope you do it. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Jackie Harmon is here, the Crypted Report, new alien show coming out that really, really puts the screws, in my opinion, at least according to the trailer, and people I've talked to who were appearing on that show with experiences, really puts the screws to them and their stories. Is this what it's all about? Making fun of the experiencers? I like Major Lee's comment here in our chat room. I did an article on canary breeding when I was 13, so I'm officially a journalist. Yes.
Hey, I
That's
wrote this paper before the show. I'm a journalist.
Right? I mean, it's ridiculous. But this reminds me of Not Finding Bigfoot on television, where they coined the term squatch. Everything's squatching this, squatching that. Let's go squatching, squatch-a-doodle-doo, squatch-a-dill-a-ding-dong, whatever you want to call it. And to many of the scientists who are trying to bring legitimacy to this field, it killed their momentum. Totally took their momentum away from the scientific community and many others who were involved in the show, because every time a leaf fell in the forest, they're yelling, "Oh, that's a squatch!" Right?
Yeah.
Oh, one of the cameramen burped. Squatch noise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Everything. That was definitely a squatch.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that and as I've told you before, and I know you disagree with me on that, but that's okay. But as I told you before, Jack, I find that people who squatch, they aren't doing anything to move the needle forward. They really aren't. I know you'll disagree with me, but we'll put it that way.
Well, I do my own squatching in the woods, so I'm doing my own thing, and that's all good. But listen, I grew up doing Bigfoot stuff, and the whole squatch thing came years later. But this is a Bigfoot girl right here. Okay,
Good. Keep it that way.
I'm a Bigfoot girl. Matter of fact, I'll be going live on Spaced Out Radio. My birthday, actually.
Nice.
It's June 16th, Father's Day, and my birthday. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Lee Strauss and I are going to be at Mount Adams, and we'll be doing some Bigfooting stuff. We'll be doing some night sky watching stuff, UFO stuff. I'll tell you what, I've been getting a lot of really weird things happening to me lately. And I think it's like something's going on there, like a connection, because I'm getting weird dreams, seeing weird things in my house. I love you guys. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you guys. But on another note, let me tell you guys about this story that I heard about, okay? There is this story about this 22-year-old woman named Ariane Natalie Lasny, who was found dead at a church in northern France with her blood drained from her body. Her and her boyfriend went there looking for a haunted house, but they couldn't find it, ended up in a church instead. Someone reporting the situation said they saw people dressed up in like vampire costume looking things. Okay. So the police say, like, okay, maybe they might have been attempting some kind of TikTok stunt that went wrong or something like that. But strangely, now they're saying it may be an actual consented sacrifice, that this woman did this on purpose. Okay. Her boyfriend literally left her body there. A hiker actually found her body days later. And another eyewitness described her before it happened as pale, emaciated, like a walking corpse. Okay, so even though her blood was like gone, like something like literally took all her blood from her body, no blood. But yet after all of that, they decided to stab her body with like a camping knife. And also and I think she got shot in the neck or something like it. But they're saying it was like after the fact. And this is just crazy. But they're now literally saying, the police are thinking like, okay, they've already arrested the boyfriend, saying like, you've got to be part of this. Something's going on. But now people are literally coming forward saying that they saw people walking around this exact same location looking like vampires. Okay. And all of a sudden she has no blood. Like, what is that? Is that not insane?
That is so unheard of.
Yeah. And they have no idea how this happened, what the circumstances are, but they just think because the boyfriend left, and the boyfriend's actually claiming that she went missing, that the reason why he left is because they were off looking for this haunted location, couldn't find it, ended up in this other place, and then she went missing and he couldn't find her. And so he decided to leave thinking like, I don't know what her deal is. I don't know where she's at. They're there alone. They're not from this area. He goes home and the police think that he has something to do with this murder. Although they do say there is something very strange about it. The fact that she has no blood. And now they're calling it like basically like a consented murder. Like she sacrificed herself. Like, is that not the craziest thing?
Like, were these done by feral type people, like cultish feral type people, you think?
The couple that went there are, the girl's 22. I think the guy was 21. And they were just like big TikTok people who were interested in the paranormal. They had happened to hear that something was going on in this town, that there was this specific haunted house that I guess was empty. They couldn't find it. Ended up at this church. And that's when some other people, eyewitnesses, said they not only saw her where she looked very bizarre, but the boyfriend wasn't with her when they saw her. And then the other people, the vampire people, they don't know where they ended up. So it was just a very strange situation and story. So I don't know what the deal is. I've never heard of anything like that. I don't watch TikTok. But I've never even heard of that kind of situation, that people are going around doing things like that.
Well, there's a couple things that I think we also get at too, is it doesn't matter whether you are into social media like TikTok or Instagram or whatever it may be for these videos and reels that people put out. Okay. It really goes to show that there is a shock factor that they are looking for in order to get clicks, in order to get subscribers, which is the most important thing in the world to a younger generation that doesn't understand what danger is, because they've been living wrapped up in bubble wrap their entire life.
Yeah, true story.
And the other point that I want to say is this, is the paranormal, whether you believe in it or not, and Jackie, I know you're going to agree with me on this, so I'm not putting words in your mouth. It can be dangerous.
Very.
It can be very dangerous, even at a location that you've investigated 50, 100 times. Look what happened to me a couple weeks ago.
Well,
where, yeah, I mean,
I've had the same thing.
You know, I mean, when that woman got attacked,
Yeah.
never seen that spirit at the museum before. Why did it happen? Like, now we have to be on guard for anything that could possibly happen like that again. But when you get people who have a an interest in the paranormal but have no idea what they're doing, trying to find some secret location. I mean, we see it in the US, never mind Europe. We see it in the US where some of
Mhm.
these teams are breaking through fences, breaking onto private property
Mhm.
to try and get that investigation happening. And here we are. This is what happens. Is
Yeah.
bad things can happen.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what the police think basically happened with this woman, that it was like a TikTok stunt gone wrong. And someone's trying to cover up the circumstances. So it's like, I mean, how does that even happen? Like, why would you put yourself in that position? That's insane to me. Like you said, it's like it's probably for followers, or let's see how many people we can get to watch this video. And now she's gone.
And for what? A
Yeah.
thumbs up? It's like when you hear these kids getting murdered for their tennis shoes or their basketball shoes.
Mhm.
Really? My child is worth, $100 pair of Air Jordans or a $300 pair of Air Jordans, right?
Mhm.
But today it's about clicks, it's about likes. And, there's
Yeah.
this case when you brought it up to me before, I was baffled by it.
Mhm.
Because there's so many different avenues and turns. Did she make herself a sacrifice, or was she kidnapped and sacrificed? We'll never know unless those people are found. But usually cult members who hang out deep in the forest
Yeah.
or in these dark, dingy places, they know the escape routes. They know that area better than anybody, and they know definitely how to
Oh, yeah.
keep us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the locals said they had never seen them before. They were basically just strange looking, they literally used the word vampire, like they were dressed exactly and looked like vampires. They said they looked pale, like a walking corpse. I mean, these were words that they described, just strange things, and then gone. Never saw them again. Like, where'd they come from? Were they part of this? Was it supposed to be some kind of like, TikTok, thing that they were putting together and it all went wrong? Like, who knows now?
Yeah. And, like thinking about it, just as you say that, who knows if this whole thing wasn't a setup for the TikTok,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe if the locals had never seen those people in there,
Mhm.
maybe this was set up by the TikTok crew because they wanted more people involved and she volunteered to do it.
Yeah. And it all went very wrong.
Hugely wrong.
Yeah.
Just, oh man, I couldn't imagine being her parents
Oh,
right now.
no.
And what a way to go to have I hope she was, I'm sure she would have passed out to unconsciousness with the loss of blood, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I wonder if the police ever found out where the blood went.
Yeah, that's the strangest part about it is I have literally, never heard of a case of someone getting murdered where there's literally no blood. Like, that's crazy. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, it's like someone came in and, like when they have dead bodies and they put the tube in and drain the blood. It's like almost like my mind goes there. Like, where did it go? What'd they do to her? How's that even possible? And then they put the vampire in your mind because that's what they use is, oh, the people who were there were vampires. So then of course you're thinking like, oh, well, in our minds in vampire movies, what do? They suck out your blood. Well, I didn't
Mm.
expect them to do all the blood. But
But then to mutilate her
yeah.
corpse
Yes.
afterwards.
Yes. And even the police said they know that happened after she died. So she did not die from the the knife wounds and the gunshot wounds, they know for a fact she did not die from those.
Wow.
So yeah. Well, to make it even stranger, I forgot to tell you, this isn't even the strangest part, but it's just a strange part of it. They found odd things around her body, like marshmallows and odd food, as if somebody was going to do like a camp out or like build a fire, and they're going to have like this little, like, let's all make s'mores about it or something. It was just odd.
What the hell is that about?
I don't know. Very weird. So
Very sick and twisted.
yeah, it was a hiker that found her, and it was days after she had passed. So yeah, it's been a mystery. No one truly knows exactly what's going on there. But now they're blaming the boyfriend. So the boyfriend's probably going to end up, going to prison for this. Sadly, but I mean, we don't know who did this exactly. It could have been him. It could have been, who knows? It's just a strange story.
Yeah. Wow. And this is recent, like just a few days ago this happened.
Yeah, this was just a few days ago. Yeah, very weird.
Very weird. We got 5 minutes to go here before we go to break for the rest of the night. Jackie Harmon and the Crypted Report are here. Jackie, what else do you got hiding for us?
Oh my gosh. Well, before I go, I want to tell you guys, I want to let you guys know. I know Dave's already talked about this a couple times, and Lee and I weren't planning on really putting too much information out there, but now we're figuring out okay, it's probably a good time to hype up everything about our show. But we do have something really, really special coming for you guys on June 28th, Friday night. I believe we're going from 8 to 9. And that will start every single week after that. And I'm going to save the name for Lee to announce that later, because we have a really special, really cool video we're making for everybody and a logo. But we're super excited about it. And don't forget to catch us live June 16th. And we'll be on Roxy's show that night.
On the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel.
Yes.
That's where it's going to be. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm so excited for you and Lee to not only add new programming for our listeners, but to be a part of the team moving forward. I mean, it was just one of those, and for people to understand, prior to Reno, Jackie Harmon, myself, and Lee Strauss had never met each other personally. Nope. We talked on the phone, we talked on this show, but never met each other personally. And then when the connection happened with all of us in Reno for the fan party, it was like literally walking up to family.
Oh, yeah.
Literally 100%. Walking up to family. And it made things perfect. Mm-hmm. It made things absolutely perfect. And I think that the addition of you guys and the addition of your new show on our YouTube channel and the hits that you're now doing here on SOR for the Crypted Report, while Lee's too busy sleeping because he works at ridiculous hours. I think it's wonderful. And you're making us better for our audience, Jackie. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I love being here. I absolutely love it. And we're really, really looking forward to our new show. Can't wait.
Tell us a little bit about what it's going to be. Can you give us that hint?
On our show, well, it's going to be basically, our show is going to be about every single experience, literally from when I was a child and Lee was a child. And what we're going to do is we're going to start sharing all of the stories that we've never really had an opportunity to share before. We are going to have some people come on every once in a while. We'll have a special guest come on. And we're going to talk about everything paranormal wise, like Bigfoot, UFO. I mean, you name it. It's all over the board. But we're really looking forward to having that, Jackson Lee, banter that we have and the conversations. Like Lee and I can talk to each other on the phone for hours, and we can just go on about UFOs and Bigfoot and, night sky watch. And so we thought, I mean, if we're going to do this, we might as well make an amazing show out of it. So We have a lot in common, and we're really looking forward to sharing all of those experiences with you guys. So I'm excited.
I'm excited for it too.
Yeah.
I really am excited. I know Sweet Robbie G, our weekend host for After Hours, is very excited about it. And for our radio listeners out there, you can always go check all of this out at youtube.com/spaced out radio. I think you're going to like it. But I thought we hit two big stories tonight, to be honest. I really did. That paranormal story scared the hell out of me. It really did.
It's been a strange one to digest. I'm telling you, since I read it, I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
It's totally crazy.
It's
crazy, you know? And once again, good lesson for people who have an interest in the paranormal. Take it easy on yourself.
Please.
Don't go to major weird locations because you want to rock star it out as a ghost hunter right off the bat. You don't know what you're dealing with.
No,
and
you don't.
even those of us who investigate don't know what we're dealing with.
True
We're usually
story.
dealing with the side effects.
Yeah. Take it from me. I've been investigating literally my whole entire life. And safety, I cannot stress safety enough. With wherever you go, have respect and be careful. Just always be safe. That's number one, no matter what.
I agree with you on that. And it's not just safety about bringing sage or Palo Santo wood to
No.
take away the spirits. It's literally making sure you are in a safe environment where floors aren't going to collapse, strangers aren't going to kidnap you, roofs aren't going to cave in.
That's
There
right.
aren't going to be sinkholes or anything like that. The zombie apocalypse isn't going to all of a sudden arise from you walking over an old graveyard that's abandoned. No. Jackie Harmon, thank you for being on Spaced Out Radio with Crypted Report. Much love. And we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. All right, we are clear. Great show, Jack Rooney.
Thank
Even
you.
I saw your face get pissed off at me when I mentioned the Squatch thing.
Do what?
Even though I saw your face get pissed off at me
Oh.
when I mentioned the Squatch thing.
I do. I don't get pissed off at anything. That's not how I roll, yo.
You gave me the stink eye.
No, my alien's doing that. Look, he looks like he's like had a, he's rolled one.
Ooh. Oh,
He's California sober.
California sober, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Let's go here. And it went by fast.
Yeah, I really did go by fast tonight.
Yep. I know my phone's going to ring tomorrow. I know. What the hell are you doing insulting my new show?
Hey, well, how about make a better show? Did I say that?
Yeah. Why don't you watch it first? It's only a trailer. I know. I'm going to hear it all, but that's okay. I'm prepared for it. I'm prepared.
You know, listen, you can't win them all.
Oh, very true.
You can't win them all. But one thing I can tell you, though, is I made a new thread today. Never had that before. And I am like blowing up my social media about SOR. So inviting everybody, posting all kinds of stuff, supporting my team.
You notice that I got you gave you guys access to the Space Travelers Club on Facebook, or not
Yeah.
the Space Travelers Club, but and we're working on some other stuff right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I do have to get you the IG stuff. So
Oh yeah, Lee and I are like super good about posting on social media. So you got two really good people who are willing to like do that. So I'm excited about that getting on there and helping everything grow and send all my followers over there, and that's going to be awesome.
I think it's going to be awesome too.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
Really
awesome.
excited. Yeah, we can't wait to do the live show. We're excited about like going out there and having everybody like share that experience with us together out there. Matter of fact, that's something we're going to do on our show is we're going to try to do like at least one show a month where we're actually live in the field so we can share like an actual real moment what we're doing and let people watch it exactly. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I know you're going to have fun. Ane came in the wrong hour, by the way. She came in an hour none. Where's Jackie? Hi, Ane. If you're listening.
Is she on now?
No, I don't see her now. I'm saying
well,
hi.
If you're on there. Hi, Ane. I love you. Miss you.
Yes. All right, my friend. I'm going to let you go because I'm going to cash out of here pretty quick as well because I got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I hope you feel better.
I meet the new bosses tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Not my new boss because I've already met him, but the new corporate bosses who believe in HR departments. I meet them tomorrow.
Well, good luck with that. I hope it goes well.
I think it's going to go well.
I think it's going to go. I have nothing but good feelings about it. So,
and you're pretty accurate.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the accuracy thing going on. So, I believe you.
I hear that from everybody I share information with. So, even if it doesn't happen right away and then it happens later, they'll always come back and tell me.
That's awesome. Very awesome. Well, you have yourself a wonderful night.
Thank you. You too.
In the air again.
Do it.
And thank you for coming on the air again.
Well, of course. Love it.
Me too. Me too. And for our radio audience or for our podcast audience, tomorrow night on the show, let's tell you who's on. Give me 2 seconds here. Who's on tomorrow night? Let's take a guess. Oh, this is going to be a good one. Mike Stevens, My Alien Abduction.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. We got him in here from, who was it? I forget who gave me his information. Was it? Oh, no, from Nomar Slevik. Nomar Slevik gave us his contact info and set that up for us.
Nice.
About this really, really interesting story that we're going to learn about tomorrow night on SOR. So tuned on in. Big thank you tonight to T-Bone with a hat trick, Night Watch CS, Dutch Hank, Lorelei, W. Decker, and am I missing anybody? Night Watch. Oh, I think I got y'all. For the super chats. It's a great way to support what we do as a show and a business here. So thank you very much, Jackie. We'll talk to you very, very soon, my dear. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.